The more appropriate sound would be to make if I was to hum "One is the loneliest number," chat. Yes, despite the fact that we're getting started later, we're having a weird fail portrayal today, apparently, I guess. Now, I don't think it was on stream, like it wasn't on mic or anything, but I'm pretty sure, reasonably certain, Axe told me he would probably be late today in joining us, if at all. You know, got conflicting schedule stuff coming up. Other than that, I literally added Loth like 45 minutes ago because this is his pick. You know, usually I don't like to go for the push picks for Patreon polls, which this is, by the way. Support us on Patreon at the 5 and up level. You can vote on topic polls for several things every month, including a fail portrayal. This month, the winner, as we are literally on the last Tuesday of the month, was Trap Tricks. So today we'll be doing Trap Tricks at some point, probably. But for now, it's just me. We're very lonely, chat. So lonely, you never know. We might accidentally stumble into some sort of carnivorous plant. And there's not even, I can't even like really kill time because there's not like a lot of news to talk about. Infinite Forbidden did just come out in Japan. Legacy of Destruction just came out in the TCG sets. We've got, you know, all those full card lists and everything. Nothing really crazy going on there. I mean, you know, Japan had nationals that were like super huge. That's cool. They broke a record. Good for them. We do know the names of like the last couple cards from like Infinite Forbidden. They're just, you know, funny pack filler stuff. I can show you the alt art from the art collection, the Albaz themed one. This is a Luber, the Boober of Duber. I'm pretty sure this is actually a Luber Jester of Despia. He's apparently working on his Lord of the Bestial or Bestial Man cosplay. Very good for him. And the last alt art is Cartesia. So I got some alt arts. But that's about it. They did announce, actually, you know, talking about continuing the series, which will be very funny, you know, making some breaking review stuff in there, but the OCG did finally announce a new deck build pack. Literally yesterday, they announced Crossover Breakers, which they do say it's a tentative title. I do not know how that will be set up and announced and named in the TCG. That it's Yu-Gi-Oh sets are known for their very wild and wacky names. You know, like I said, we literally just had Infinite Forbidden, Legacy of Destruction. You know, many words with chaos, lots of things with duelist, obviously, but like crossover breakers of crossover. We like breakers. The Japanese like the word breakers. Crossover? I don't know. I don't know where that's coming from. Don't know how that'll be handled. But yeah, got a few different things. So there's not really any news. So that just means we're here. We're here, chat. We're all alone. And actually, hold on a second. I'm gonna get my bottle of water.
What?
Let's go back in time. No, hey. Let's shut up.
I just got here.
Yes, correct.
Lost track of time.
Yeah. You know. Well, it's good that I can now have some dialogue. I stepped away for a second to grab my bottle of water. We were very lonely here for the first 5 minutes of Fail Portrayal.
Did not realize we had gone live. Did not realize what time it was.
It's okay. I mean, I added Law specifically because this was his pick for the poll, so I would kind of like him to be here at some point. Yes, we are also just starting. We haven't gone anywhere. We're good. Somebody in chat's just saying, yeah, we basically just started. So yeah, but we're here now. And we're going to talk about Traptrix. And I resumed my my original image here, because Traptrix is a very interesting archetype. It's been around a while, if you don't know. I don't know if it itself is really like a very fan-liked archetype, really. Honestly, a lot of trap-focused decks tend to be kind of hit or miss with the community. Some people just hate when you set and flip up purple cards. They can't handle it.
Traptrix is both. There's definitely a sect of people that enjoy playing it, but
Yes.
like any of these stun variants, like not stun variants, but like trap-based variants, it's going to be very stun heavy in its pacing.
And a lot of
it's well liked and well remembered, but that's only for people who played it at the time. Anyone who did not like play the exact like hat formats don't really get why people like them, and they're just really annoying to them.
Yes.
It's generally how it pans out, like with any of these archetypes. Same with Labyrinth. Like, I'm sure people who played Labyrinth when it was new and meta enjoyed it. People who played against it probably just didn't like it that much because of what it did.
I'm still playing Lab and Master Duel because this is an entirely separate discussion. I don't know if, like, I suspect somebody at Konami Corporate running the Master Duel office has, like, a minimum number of ultra rares that need to be in every selection pack or something in order to make you buy gems. Spoiler, Konami, I'm never buying gems. But the ratio of ultras in most new decks feels awful. I don't know why the fuck Fusion Armament is an ultra rare in Master Duel. It's not even that. I mean, yeah, it summons a guy from the extra deck. Cool. That's material for another guy. That's not that good. Instant Fusion already exists, and I think we've got Ready Fusion too. Like, I don't know why it is an ultra.
Yeah, a lot of designs of the new packs, they have to give ultra slots to some cards now. Like, it's just the ratio they have set up for the packs. So you're always going to get a few that end up as
sometimes
stinkers.
It makes sense, like, obviously, like, some of the newer Pearly support, in higher rarity, especially because, like, I've actually mentioned I was quite surprised that Pearly and Perlily are both, like, rares in Master Duel, so, like, it's not awful, but the Chimera deck is very high rarity in Master Duel.
Yeah.
And there's a few other cases where just, like, the ratio, personally, of me, like, acquiring more ultra-rare dust to make staples and archetype cards is hard. It takes a lot of effort. But we're not here to talk about that. But yeah, in general, Traptrix is one of those decks that is well-known. Is Instant Fusion actually banned in Master Duel? I don't know if they actually did that. I know they finally did that in, like, the OCG. Did we do that in the TCG as well?
Pretty sure.
There's a lot of speculation to actually phase out Instant Fusion for Ready Fusion, because Ready Fusion only is non-effect fusion, so it's just the extra material. It's banned on me. Okay.
Looks like it's limited right now.
Yeah, but anyway, we're not actually here to talk about Instant Fusion. Though, speaking of Traptrix in the extra deck is very interesting because a lot of people nowadays would think of Traptrix as an Xyz and Link deck. But in their original release, they didn't really have a lot of extra deck monsters. I think for the actual Hat era, I don't actually know if they had any in-archetype extra deck monsters.
I think they had Rafflesia?
Rafflesia wasn't until Breakers of Shadow.
Oh my god.
So that would be Pandera, I believe. Several years after the Hat success. Which, if you don't know, we should explain, because we've thrown it around a couple of times. Hat HAT, all caps, stands for Hands, Artifact, Trap Tricks.
Yeah, it was a style of deck that was just generally good at being like a mishmash of advantage engine.
Yes.
Another future instance of this would be what's known as Clown Blade, which is a Performer Pal, and which is like heroic challengers,
Yeah.
Performer Pal, Perform Mages, just a soup of cards that when put together perform potentially infinite advantage, which is all that mattered at the time.
And usually, specifically, because this would be in the Xyz era, Hat was usually played using those as a resource engine to get you extra stuff from the deck, and also conveniently line up usually for rank 4 and occasionally rank 5s with the artifacts.
Yeah.
But in general, a lot of those cards just got you a lot of advantage. The hands, like usually just the basic bitch, fire, and ice hand, are like just a really good resource loop.
Yeah,
you know,
you have
pop
Ice
a
Hand.
card, get a guy.
Yeah, like one pops a monster, then summons the other, and the other one pops a spell and summons the other. So they're infinite bodies.
A handful of artifacts, such as Scythe. Yes, Scythe is that old and has been that annoying forever.
Yeah, Scythe is that old, and when it happened, it was just a minor inconvenience.
Yeah. There's also, cards like Moral Attack and a few other artifacts, which of course go with their artifact back row, like Sanctum and Ignition, which are really great setup cards. And then your Trap Tricks were another block of level 4 Earth monsters. Trap Tricks themselves are split between plants and insects, if you're curious. They are both. But they have synergy at first with Trap Hole cards. Cards specifically contain the name Trap Hole, which has been a long-running trap archetype.
Do we want to say anything about any specific Trap Hole cards along with this, or are we just going along the idea that, like...
there are a couple of cards like Terrifying Trap Hole Nightmare and Trap Tricks Trap Hole Nightmare that are like basically in archetype, especially with their art that we'll talk about. Most people probably know them, but we can mention, some of the more common ones.
Yeah, I feel like at the very least, we should talk about some of like the, I guess, well-known ones that we've seen.
Bottomless, very famous. Everybody should know Bottomless. It's actually quite old. It's been since like Legacy of Darkness. It's been reprinted like 9 billion times.
Yeah, like Terrifying Trap Hole and Floodgate, probably.
Yeah. Also, some other classics, and we don't really need to pull up the art because mostly they're holes in things, possibly with a guy being sucked into them. But the wiki, for instance, mentions some of the ones played at the time, which I do recall is obviously Bottomless, which is when your opponent special summons a monster that's 1,500 attack or more, destroy and banish it.
Yeah, and at the time, banishing, like, a huge thing to keep in mind, I guess, like, in the hat format of that time of Yu-Gi-Oh!, the game was slow as hell. And it wasn't, like, it was still fast compared to, I guess, other formats, but compared to modern Yu-Gi-Oh!, the shit was slow, and these kind of decks that performed infinite advantage were generally the best decks, because negates weren't as common, it was just general stun plays. But your mini cards could still start getting around these effects at this point.
Yeah.
It was kind of the end of this style of play going into modern Yu-Gi-Oh!, which is about building a board of negates.
Yeah, the first turn player usually has a huge advantage because they get to completely set up and the other player has to go into the board. Obviously, there's a lot of discussion right now because Tenpai has literally just come out, and it is probably going to be one of the most blind second decks of all time, and will probably win tournaments that way. Just praying for getting on the rip on the coin flip. You get to blind second in the matchup. Sure, your opponent picks you go first next time, but if you're already up one game, you can guarantee it in the third one.
Yeah.
So it'll be an interesting to see how that plays out. There's a lot of debate going on, like whether or not Tenpai as a concept is good for the game. I personally, I've said this before. I do think that this is the natural reckoning when YugiTube won't shut up about the battle phase being dead for like 4 years, which admittedly, the battle phase was a little dead. depending on the decks you're running into. But decks also make huge assholes. This is actually, I just randomly got recommended one of, it was technically on his Magic channel, but one of Dualog's Magic the Gathering videos, Manalogs is his Magic channel if you don't know, that explain, like, the differences and similarities between Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic. And I was actually struck by the fact that, like, most Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards are both threats to your opponent's life and interactions. Like, Barone is not just the negate and the pop. Barone is also a 3K fucking asshole that you have to deal with. Like, Barone would actually be, would probably not be banned right now if it had, like, 0 attack, you know? Like, if you could just go to battle phase and run over Barone, it would not be a problem. But that's why extra deck boss monsters are good. So, yeah. You know, there's a lot of, I think, back and forth there to be like, no, I think actually that, like, attack stats do matter, and I do think that it's good that the battle phase brings back. I do kind of agree that just the general tendency of their field spell design for them and for Gimmick Puppet, which is, like, Infinite Forbidden literally just came out in the OCG. Gimmick Puppet is already putting up results with the new combo pieces in their field spell.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, no, it's an anime deck, so people are jazzed to play it. Also, it has a consistent FTK, I believe. We'll see how long that fucking lasts. But
oh boy.
They also have a field spell which basically says your Gimmick Puppets are unaffected. Get good, scrub. They're unaffected by non-Xyz monster effects. So, like, spell trap effects still work. Xyz monster effects obviously still work. But they dodge all hand traps, you know, stuff like that. Tempai is a very similar field spell, if you haven't heard, that is, during your main phase, you're unaffected by opponent's activated monster effects. So hand traps don't do shit in the main phase, etc. You know, obviously, like, there's plenty of room for cards like Threatening Roar, even fucking Judgment of Ruler, which procs in standby phase, you know? Like, there's room for counterplay. It is quite annoying to like, all of Yu-Gi-Oh's game design has been, like, funneled into hand traps since, like, I don't know, what, like 2018? When did Ash come out?
For a good while.
Yeah, and now Konami is realizing, oh shit, hey, hand traps are fucking everywhere. What do we do about this? You know, you've seen it for a while. We've talked before, like when we talked about Labyrinth. And I think actually some of the new Trap Tricks cards also have this remedy, where you can dodge Ash by setting directly from deck, you know? So, like, Konami is trying to, like, figure how to dig themselves out of the hole with hand traps. But yeah, we got in the weeds a little. We're talking about differences in deck building. I want to say, if you were not there during the time period, which I wasn't actively involved in Yu-Gi-Oh, but I'm a decent student of history for that time period. If you are curious how good and popular Hat was, Hat took number 2 at 2014 Worlds. Like, yeah, this is a high-level competitive deck.
I had started playing competitive Yu-Gi-Oh right as this deck was coming out of favor, but many people still played this because I started playing, like, Secret Force was when I started actually playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and at that point, Hat was not the best deck anymore, or it was just a tier 2 kind of rogue strategy.
Yeah.
But it was still incredibly competent, and that was enough even with these more heavy advantage decks like Necros, Ritual Beast, Yosenju in a sense, but this was still a very strong deck.
And to round out the suite of trap holes, like, most of you have probably been hit with a trap hole in your time, no matter what time you've played Yu-Gi-Oh! There's usually a trap hole that is relevant. Popular ones was also included Time-Space Trap Hole. That's a little later, but was Duelist Alliance. But that is when your opponent special summons from hand or extra deck, shuffle those monsters back, because it is multiple monsters, and then you lose 1,000 LP. I believe this works on pendulum summons, because those are if you're doing it from the hand or extra deck, so, like, pretty good for the time period. An earlier model from even before Trap Tricks came out, though popular still from Return of the Duelist, is Void Trap Hole. That's if your opponent special summons a monster with 2,000 or more attack, negate its effects, and if you do, destroy it. So just instantly, if your opponent summons, if it has a trigger effect, it is negated and it goes to jail. And probably the one that most people know, because I am reasonably certain that it is why we call things floodgates, Floodgate Trap Hole.
Yep.
Which says I'm trying to double-check the language. It's when your opponent special summons on monsters, change them to face-down defense position. Monsters that are changed by this effect cannot change their battle positions. This was obviously, like, not during the initial hat era, but when you get to their like, first wave of legacy support in 2016, this was, Floodgate Trap Hole was in the Dark Illusion first. When your opponent summons a monster, I should say, yeah. So it can be on normal as well, which is pretty good. And also includes tribute summons and other weird summoning conditions.
It does concern, like, bulk summoning too.
Yeah, because it does have the parenthetical
summoning.
S as well. The only thing basically Floodgate Trap Hole was a card that was pretty amazing exactly until Link monsters were printed a couple years later, at which point it has become a highly situational card. But is arguably still good because you can't use face-down monsters as Link material. So just when your opponent goes to summon the guy that becomes a Link monster, you just go, no.
Yeah, I guess I did look up Ash Blossom. 2017, Maximum Crisis.
Ooh, boy, man. Ash been around
7
for a while.
years old.
Yeah, jeez. But yeah, so Trap Tricks, we are not talking about every trap hole because there's a lot of them. And there are a decent number of Trap Tricks because they are a deck that has been around for 10 years.
Look, if you ever think you've seen all of the Trap Hole cards, when you go up against a Trap Tricks player, no matter where you're playing, you will eventually see one that you've never seen before.
Yeah,
like,
they'll find some
every time you play against them.
Weird shit. But yeah, so Trap Tricks, which is just a, kind of portmanteau of trap, trick, and also using the tricks, which is a feminine ending in a lot of Latin and Romance language nouns. So they are female traps of trickiness. The Japanese name is Koakuma, literally means insect alluring demon, but has play on, like, allure, the phrase Kawakuma, which means little devil, which apparently, refers to just, a scheming young woman. And it's similar to it has a similar kanji to what is used for insect. So, again, multi-layered Japanese puns here.
There's just too much.
Yeah. It's the kind of thing where, like, in Japanese, if you read or heard it out loud, you would kind of get the funny vibe of the jokes they're going for. And I think Trap Tricks does it enough with just the vocalization that you go, okay, yeah, all right. Specifically, the Trap Tricks are, as I said before, they're insects or plants. They are typically themed after insects that are ambush predators or carnivorous plants. There are a couple of exceptions. We mentioned Rafflesia earlier. Rafflesia is not technically a parasitic or a carnivorous plant. It's a parasitic plant. It feeds off carrion. And there are another couple of, like, they've done some funny side stuff. Like, for instance, Holitea, the trap that becomes a monster. That's based on a plant which is called, I believe, a proto-carnivorous plant. Like, it's not a true carnivorous plant. It has, like, the evolutionary mechanism to kill insects that get close but doesn't actually digest them. So it's, got a funny vibe where it's kind of like a carnivorous plant but isn't, so it's a trap that becomes a monster. They have a lot of these kind of funny comparisons. I may or may not, I might skip it for the insects. For the plants, I'll probably try and grab a picture of the plant in question. For the insects and spiders, I know that might bother some people, so we'll probably skip the up-close images of, like, trapdoor spiders.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
But there's a few in there. Sadly, it's weird. I'm pretty sure we know the name of the artist who draws Trap Tricks because, and I believe it's a she, but she also drew, like, Knight and Sorcerer and a couple of other, like, distinctive styles of card. the artist has a very specific art style that you can tell from a couple of cards, but the wiki doesn't have their name handy, so I cannot give it. Oh, also, hey, I'm gonna be pulling these assets from Master Duel. This means I'm not gonna fuck around with like trying to find uncensored versus censored arts, guys. Also, I don't know. YouTube might get mad at me. I don't fucking know anymore. But yeah, this is one of the rare cases where this is a Yu-Gi-Oh artist with a distinct art style that can actually like admit they've done work. But we're going to start at the beginning, and like I said, thank you, chat. Zero in my chat. Akina Fujiwara, thank you. So, it's a terrible shame that we're starting with Atrax, because Atrax takes its name from the genus of Australian funnel web spiders.
Ugh.
Which are very nasty, but unfortunately, the Loth is not here yet. Oh, also to Droll and Lock, yeah.
Well, why don't we spend a hot second talking about when these came out? Because that was what year do you guys think, chat?
Actually, it is a good question. I did say actually when they hat almost won a Worlds, but is that the exact same time these cards came out?
It was 2013.
Yep.
Judgment of Light.
Judgment of Light, which has Utopia Ray Victory on it. This is probably why Konami decided later to give them Xyz support, because as I mentioned, I'm reasonably certain that in their first block, they did not actually have extra deck monsters, unless I'm forgetting somebody.
I'm seeing Atrax, Mermelio, Nepenthez, and Trapple Nightmare. That's it.
So yeah, no, they were just a engine. But yeah, Atrax here is based on a fun web spider. Oh, I should say, actually, I forgot to mention this earlier because we got distracted by many other topics. There's been a couple of cases of lore about the trap tricks. They're in an EX guide book, and also in the OCG anyway, the structure deck came with a little lore insert. We're not going to go in detail because it's not really important, but their lore is basically exactly what you think it is. There are some people who, like, ask weird questions about the lore. No. In the quote-unquote southern forests, so anywhere from Australia to South America, where I do believe a decent number of these species are from, those parts of the world, there are a lot of missing persons. I believe the EX book lore. Sorry, the Master Guide 4 is pre-EX book. It's written from the point of view of a guy talking about looking for them, a biologist trying to figure out who's gone missing. He meets some strange, young girls in the forest who were like beckoning to him, and he was like, "Oh, are they like the indigenous people?" But then no, they are the responsible for the fucking disappearances because they are actually, directly associated with some of these creatures. And then I shit you not, chat. The Master Guide recommends you bring your eradicating aerosol. I'm not kidding. It straight up uses this picture. But yeah. The booklet in the structure deck, which came out a while ago, which, yes, also, these guys had a structure deck recently, which is, I believe, pretty positively received. It's not like a high-power deck, but it had some good support in it, and it actually, like, included reprints of a lot of good, like, still usable, like, trap holes and stuff. But it does say that, there are various species of trap tricks, and they live in the forest. And, you know, they are basically, like, seem like symbiotic with the actual, like, carnivorous plant or insect part. But no, the trap tricks are absolutely a trick to make you go, what the fuck is going on? Oh god, a spider. I've been eaten. Like the poor goblin men we will see later. But yes, Atrax, one of our first subjects here. Like I said, I'm not going to pull up pictures of, like, spiders and stuff. Funnel web spiders do have very big fangs, so the fact that Atrax here has, you know, like, very big fangs kind of hanging down and got, like, little fanglets in her ears makes perfect sense. I kind of got, like, a extra, like, weird, you know, spider silk spirals around her because it's a funnel web spider, you know. It's funny because I assume that these little droplets are supposed to be, like, deadly spider venom dripping down, but of course they have formed perfectly spherical floating Konami orbs.
I think it's trying to imitate the eyes, right?
Yes, probably, because she's also got a little bit of in her headpiece. I'm pretty sure based on other artworks that, like, again, they don't actually specify, like, which one is, you know, the stand and which one is the stand user, to use that metaphor. Yes, I made a JoJo reference. But in other art, like when we show Trap Hole Nightmare, this is framed so you don't see it. The actual trapdoor spider part is literally, like, just above her waiting to get you. So, like, the artist does a very good job kind of framing these arts so that you're like, oh, hey, who the fuck's this? There's some, you know, weird kid with pointy bits everywhere. What am I doing? And then just, a spider. So,
yeah, it's, the Trap Hole Nightmare is, it's just hard. I don't like that card art.
There's some bad news bears people in there. There's some bad news bears in there. Before we do that, let's actually talk about Atrax slotting into the deck. This is one of our first wave of support here. She is an earth insect, but not that earth insect. Level 4. Like I said, this became important because one of the things you could do with the hat deck was rank 4 stuff. Just rank 4 toolbox. 1800 attack, 1000 defense, so showing we've got a decent stat line. We're in the Xyz era, so stats don't actually matter for levels, but they gave her a standard level 4 stat line, which is good. Atrax says that Atrax is unaffected by the effects of whole normal traps, which is, yes, a sub-archetype. I believe the way this works is that, strictly speaking, in Japan, there's like a weird split between trap holes and holes because trap holes are actually called pitfall. But because of the way they're named, all the text that unifies them on cards like Myrmelio includes both anyway, so the TCG's never had to change any names. But trap hole and hole cards are technically separate. But for the most part, a hole card is also a trap hole card, so it doesn't really matter. Atrax also says you can activate whole normal trap cards from your hand. The activates of your normal traps on your field can't be negated. Or the activation and effect can't be negated. So yeah, that's honestly all you need to know about this archetype. They synergize with normal trap holes. Atrax specifically lets you activate them from your hand. You know, something that is a strategy that decks have been doing since then, at least. This is very similar, for instance, to how Runic does funny things. It's just letting you play quick plays on your opponent's turn from your hand. And is also just like, nah, you can't negate.
Yeah, It was a decent enough body to just lay down turn 1, and your opponent probably can't answer it between its stat line and its ability.
Yeah.
Its effect.
This is unfortunately the kind of thing that these days you will probably, not necessarily, but probably run out of good trap holes in hand before your opponent runs out of guys that can do something that gets around Atrax. But I think that she probably has a decent enough block there to keep going. Like, still a good starting point for the archetype. And I just mentioned her, so let's grab the next one as well. This is a Traptrix Myrmelio,
which is probably the most, I think, iconic of the hat deck.
Yes. Spoilers, but she has 2 effects in addition to the passive of being unaffected by whole normal traps, which actually gives you a lot of opportunity in some of the mirror match or counter strategy plays. But when you normal summon Myrmelio, you add a whole trap from your deck to your hand. A normal trap, I should specify, but most of the ones that matter are. If she's special summoned, you can pop a spell trap your opponent controls. So has different effects, is a good normal and a good special.
Yeah.
In the OCG, this is Koakuma Torion, like Tlion, like Antlion, but without the ant part. Myrmelio is just the genus of antlions. And,
yeah, it still works out. And
it's a little hard to tell with some of the detail work, though there is good detail, but you can definitely see the antlion jaws kind of like coming up behind her. Like here.
Yeah, it's a very it's also just a pretty good active pose. Mixing the antlion in.
Yeah, like it's. You can tell that it's supposed to be like a sand swirl in the antlion jaws, and she's got some like coloration and features that match an antlion. But also, like I said, this could just be like something, magical, mystical. She could just be summoning her stand, the antlion. Anybody ever made a song named Antlion? His band? I'll find out later.
There probably is.
That is true. But yeah, so Myrmelio is another Earth Insect level 4. Now, she's only 1,600, 1,200. I think Konami understood that this was a very good card, and so they adjusted the stats a little lower. Also, honestly, Myrmelio is one of those cards that you don't need to stick around after she's been summoned. But definitely Myrmelio is a card that is arguably still good to this day in Traptrix decks. I don't actually know if they have a lot of competition for their normal otherwise.
Not really.
Like, they got a really good normal summon right at the start, and everybody locked in on, like, oh no, this is the card. Because she's basically like a Stratos type effect, but for the other half of your deck, your trap half. And then also, like we said, if you special summon her, she's MST. Which is good.
We did get Mantis later that is also a pretty good normal summon, but it's still it's 2 normal summons, so you probably run both.
Yeah. Alright. And then out of our initial block, the next one is Nepenthes. I'll grab the Wikipedia image if it's hopefully not too super fucking huge. Okay, it's just like weirdly formatted, but here, there's a pitcher plant. So you can see the Nepenthes pitcher plant. Though with some extra detail, normally pitcher plants, one, they aren't actually that full of liquid, but they don't normally have, evil eyes inside the pitcher. And normally the lid is not shaped like a spiky heart. But it is definitely a pitcher plant. So this is our first plant one. Don't know what the fuck these butterflies think they're doing.
They're just chilling. They're just looking pretty.
yeah, those guys are soon to be snacks. It's like a flying cookie. But yes,
the pivot design, it's pretty nice. Like,
yeah,
there's I don't know, there's a lot of weird people out there. I don't know, fucking the Traptrix cards look nice. Leave it at that.
yes. I don't want to step into any discourse because there are some forms of discourse that the internet is cursed to relive all the time. My favorite is the Persona 4 discourse. It literally never stops. By the time we think we're over it again, they'll announce a remake to Persona 4 and it'll start again. Final Fantasy VII shipping discourse literally never stopped. People are relitigating it like it's 1997. The Traptrix get caught up in this a little because of their specific nature of their art style. I don't really care about that. They're first of all, these chicks are trying to kill you. Let's not mince words. These are some scary fuckers. Spiders, scary. A pitcher plant's not that scary to you, but if you were a fly, it'd be pretty creepy. And I also think that, like, this artist has this distinct style. Yes, people are often drawn a little soft and a little noodly, but the art is technically, on a technical level, good. We know what we're doing. And there's a lot of, like, really good subtle detail. Like, notice she's got kind of like a color shift in her hair, going from like a lighter yellow to a more like danger red. The dress design is like really good, incorporating a lot of that color shifting and kind of like almost like a leaf-like effect at the tips. I assume the idea being to let you know that these girls are not quite human. They're not just dressed in normal casual clothes, but also spooky forest clothes.
Yeah, it's just a very nice general aesthetic. Like we saw like with Mermelio and Atrax earlier. It's like they're just well drawn designs. I don't know.
Yeah. No,
that's all there is.
It's a solid art style, and there's a lot of like this one especially very detailed, very good background, very good use of lighting. Just lots of really good technical work. But people do get weird sometimes, and we're not here to yell about that.
Yeah,
Nepenthes is our first plant.
Someone did say earlier, Akane Fujiwara did do the Charmers and other cards I was looking through.
Charmers, Droll and Lock, Knight, and Sorcerer. A decent number of fairly respectable card arts. And well-known ones as well. Nepenthes is a level 4 with 800 attack, 2k defense. And as Vesper mentioned earlier, this was a slower time period. You could, if you had the right tools, for instance, if you had back row, absolutely you could, set or otherwise rig a special summon of a 2k defender, and that would not actually be the worst thing in the world. Because your opponent would usually have to commit to making a monster big enough to get over it, which, maybe they didn't want to do. Nowadays, with, like, generic Link monsters, though a decent number of Link 2s can't clear 2k, but, the wide variety of effects and things that get out there, usually your opponent will have at least one removal tool. Just putting up a 2k defender is not good enough because even if they're not going to kill you, most opponents will still go to the battle phase to clear out your extra monsters because they don't want you getting materials on a follow-up turn. This is assuming that they are not going to the battle phase because they have literally done the math. You are going to die. But 2k defense is still not terrible. Like all the others so far, Nepenthes, whose name in Japanese is Kazuda, which is part of the Japanese word for a pitcher plant. It's like... Yes, Ubotsu Kazuda. She's unaffected by hole traps. If you activate a whole normal trap card except during the damage step, you can add to your hand or special a Traptrix monster from your deck, except Nepenthes. You can only use this effect once per turn. Once again, this is really good.
Which will often be Mermelio.
Yes, which turns into a pop. This is an amazing plus. You're gonna be setting or even activating from your hand if you also get Atrax out, but you're going to be activating whole normal traps. And then any of those can turn into a search for something later, or you can instantly special summon a Trap Tricks. I am pretty sure that Nepenthez is not as popular these days because you have several other search options and summoning options, and she doesn't have like an inherent summon or anything. But still a very strong card to open on. And they got like one little +1 in like 2014, right around this time this deck would be getting, more popular for hats, which was Dionea. Dionea based on the Venus Flytrap. Once again, really killer detail work on this art. Like, this has kind of a different lighting scheme than several of the others. But we've got, Dionea with a very fun little, like, Venus Flytrap details. Like, she's almost got, like, little animal ears of Venus Flytraps. And a little Venus Flytrap tail.
You can also see some skulls.
But also, yeah, by the way, hey, there's some skulls. I'm pretty sure those are goblin or orc guys from Yu-Gi-Oh! Goblins and Orcs, because they have, kind of tusky teeth. I also like that, like, she's inside the Venus Flytrap, so you've got, like, a little bit of the dew going on, but also it looks like this Venus Flytrap has a funny little tongue. Like, it's like he's a giant chain chomp.
I think that's supposed to be her tail.
That might also be, like, part of the wrap and stuff, because I think the tail's up here. Maybe this is the tongue of the Venus Flytrap, and that's hers. It's hard to tell, but it's just, there's a lot of funny little details in here. And I will actually also, I would assume most people have seen a Venus Flytrap.
Yeah, I think a Venus Flytrap is, it's definitely the more, it's something everyone I think has seen. Yeah. Like it was a fairly popular, like.
Yes. It's very iconic, which is funny because it's a plant that in real life has a super narrow distribution in America. So much so that they are actually, by the way, rated vulnerable. They're a vulnerable species. So they're not endangered, but they are threatened. So don't engage in trading of Venus Flytraps outside of their native habitat, guys. Funnily enough, I actually had a potted Venus Flytrap as a kid. You have to be very careful with them. They need a lot of ambient humidity, and also need flies to eat. But living in Florida, where it's hot and humid, it was not hard to arrange either of those things. But yes, Dionea, as I mentioned earlier, came out a little later. This was Primal Origin in 2014, so a few sets down the line from 2013. But still definitely in the time when this was a pretty sizable deck. Dionea is a level 4 plant to kind of like round out. So you got 2 insects, 2 plants. She's got 1700 attack, 1100 defense, unaffected by whole normal traps. When this card is normal summoned, you can target a Trap Tricks in your graveyard, special summon it back in defense position. When this card is specialed, target a whole normal trap in your graveyard, set it, but banish it during the end phase of your next turn if it's still in the field. You can use only this effective Dionea once per turn. So Dionea offers you another normal summon, but probably a normal summon you are performing if you have already been summoning cards like Myrmelio.
Yeah. By the time Dionea and Rafflesia came out, Trap Tricks had just become its own deck. It was no longer chained to hats and artifacts as. But both of those eventually got creeped out, but Trap Tricks maintained popularity because of these other cards, allowing it to stay pretty strong.
Yeah, Dionea basically means that, like, if you use her for your normal, if you've managed to get any of your other Trap Tricks into the graveyard, that's instantly you have 2 materials for a rank 4. Just a 1-card rank 4. And if she's special summoned for any reason, such as out of your deck with Nepenthez, that means that you can instantly set a normal trap in your graveyard. I'm pretty sure, let me actually double check the way Nepenthez is worded. If you activate a trap, you can special summon. So yeah, Nepenthez would resolve in the same chain as your activated trap. Then you would start a new chain for Dionea. So Dionea means that you could instantly reset that trap you just activated. You can't activate it the same turn because it's being set again, but you could like instantly recycle your trap hole at the risk of banishing it at the end of your next turn. But like, there's definitely some interesting room. I will say that I feel like Dionea feels like she's obviously. I think, as you said, Dionea was still played, especially because that normal summon effect to get back a special summon of Trap Tricks is really important. A lot of Trap Tricks have on summon effects. I feel like Dionea was a little conservatively designed because this deck was already kind of good as an engine. As someone who has played Labyrinth, set a normal trap hole or a normal trap from a normal hole trap from your graveyard and then banish it during the end phase of your next turn. That's actually like a pretty strict restriction. You still cannot, unless it says that you can activate that set card that turn, you cannot activate a card the turn it was set. So it is entirely possible that you would be resetting a trap card like on your, if you wanted to reset a trap card on your turn, you would literally not be able to use it before it banishes itself. So it's interesting where they build up this kind of like engine stuff. Nowadays, it might still be good because there's several decks, including something like Snake Eyes. Obviously, that doesn't have any synergy with this directly, but it's a strategy that a lot of decks are taking to just send spell traps to summon things. So like, it's probably not the worst assist move, but it is very interesting to see them kind of go a little more restrictive on it.
Yeah, Dionea.
I cannot imagine you would play Dionea in a modern deck.
Probably. I know. Yeah.
Because I'm trying to think. Like, I'm pretty sure that they have other ways to reborn.
Yeah, they Trap Tricks has a bunch of flexibility. I'm trying to remember to reading through.
Yeah. I mean, one of the big ones is, as I mentioned earlier, though it took them a while, the card we're about to show was not printed until Breakers of Shadow in 2016. So, you know, entering, well into the Pand era, Breakers of Shadow has, what's his face on the cover? It's not High Paladin. I think it's normal Nirvana Paladin. No, Enlightenment Paladin. Yeah, so, like, you know, very deep into the Pendulum era.
Yeah, Rafflesia was late.
But here she is. And, you know, being the Xyz one, I think that Rafflesia has a very, like, good art style gimmick where it's just like, hey, it's all the other four ladies, you know, all the other four girls gathered up in, like, a little posse hanging around the Rafflesia, which is a very big flower. I do also like that just, once again, all the, you know, the carnivorous parts are, like, literally just off screen. You know, you've got, like, a couple of the spider fangs here, the antlion fangs, the pitcher plant and stuff. They're just camera shy.
Yeah, they don't want to be in frame.
But yes, so Rafflesia came out a little later, but Rafflesia is when this deck, like, really gets some, if you'll excuse the pun, gets some teeth as a solo deck. Obviously, you could still use them as a rank 4 engine before, but having your own in-archetype rank 4, probably helpful. Rafflesia is a rank 4 plant Xyz. She's Earth. 300 attack, 2,500 defense. Completely generic. We're in the height of Pendulum era. Konami is like, nah, 2 level 4 monsters. So while Rafflesia has material, she's unaffected by all trap effects. We cut out the whole restriction. You just can't use traps on Rafflesia. I am pretty sure that because it is unaffected, that means you dodge certain Floodgate type effects. Like, for instance, I believe Rafflesia herself is not subjected to skill drain while she has an effect on because she's unaffected by it. But I'm pretty sure cards like Rivalry and Gozen target the player, so you would still have to be picky.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, because Rafflesia it's basically Genzo.
Yeah. Traptrix monsters you control except Rafflesia can't be destroyed by battle or card effects, so just blanket protection for all your guys. This is very good for cards like Atrax, which you want to keep around. And also, Nepenthes as well. A lot of your trap tricks to this point have effects that want them to be on field. Your opponent can't target trap tricks monsters except with Rafflesia with card effects. And then once returned as a quick effect, detach material from this card, send a whole trap that meets its activation conditions from your deck to the graveyard. This effect becomes that trap card's effect when it is activated. This is when trap tricks really takes off. This just means that you don't even need to search and set trap holes. Just have a fucking trap hole in your deck that can activate. You detach a material. Blam. Your opponent gets floodgated.
You just get to activate from deck. It's cool.
Yeah. And I do like that they do, it is a limited number of times, obviously. It's a soft once per turn, and it requires a material, so, you don't get to fire this endlessly. But it does mean that, much like with the original Atrax, you're not reliant on your hand or back row to activate your trap cards. I'm pretty sure that during this time period, Feather Duster was still banned.
Yes,
Heavy Storm. Oh God, Heavy Storm is one of those cards that stuck around a lot longer than I thought it did. But I don't know if it was recently banned, but it was definitely on the list.
There was no chance Heavy Storm. I don't recall.
But because Pendulum cards are also spell cards, your opponents would be playing cards that would get rid of them. Twin Twisters, I think, is from this era. Obviously, MST was around, and I believe had come off the FL list by 2016. Many other, funny cards that pop spell traps. So not being reliant on cards in your back row is a good way to spice up a trap deck.
Yeah, Heavy Storm has been banned since 2013.
Yeah.
It was gone for a while.
Yeah, chat brought this up. Because White Hole is a whole normal trap, Rafflesia can detach a material to protect herself from Dark Hole.
It's very funny that was rarely ran, but it could happen.
When Dark Hole actually got unbanned, I do believe it did end up being one of the removals du jour for a while. And now board wipes are so fucking dime a dozen that, we're slowly unlimiting Raigeki. And shit like that. I'm honest to God shocked that the TCG hasn't just bit the bullet and done Heavy Storm to 1. I know that there's a lot of decks that would plus off that, but I also they unbanned Snatch Steal and Change of Heart, y'all. I don't fucking know anymore, man. I don't think I understand what makes Yu-Gi-Oh cards broken. I do know that you can't unban Pot of Greed. If only because literally every deck would run one Pot of Greed. It would be silly.
It could be fine. Who cares? Fuck.
I mean, if they knew for sure that 3 to 4 months later they would do another ban list and they would put it back, Pot of Greed for a single format would be very funny. Yes, for sure, for absolutely sure, Graceful Charity can literally never come back.
Yeah, Graceful Charity. Fuck that one.
You would build decks around cards that recycle normal spell cards so you could play your one copy of Graceful Charity over and over again. Graceful Charity would require a hard once per turn errata to come back. And even then, it would probably still be super strong. And you would probably never go above limit 1.
Just try it. What's the worst that could happen?
Everybody is playing Paleo Exodia. We are literally not playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Your opponent just draws their entire deck on turn 1 and wins.
I think it'll be fine.
But yeah, so Rafflesia gave this deck a lot of gas because it turns not just your back row, but your entire deck into a toolbox where any trap hole could be good because you can just sling it out of the deck, And actually, it's been a while since I checked Yu-Gi-Oh! Top decks. I know that the top deck site's a little outdated, but it would be good for these historical formats. Were there any Trap Tricks tops during this time period? No, not really. So the Pendulum era support did not give Trap Tricks enough juice to start, making cuts right away. but definitely Flesia was a good card to be playing, and certainly still sees room in decks now. Hell, depending on what you're running, you can run Rafflesia in any rank 4 deck. Because her effects are technically completely generic, except you need hole traps, which are fairly generic support traps.
Rafflesia was slotted into some decks just that were naturally playing a lot of trap cards. They weren't always Trap Tricks decks.
Yeah.
But it was still a good card, and everyone knew it. And it did start like the idea of this deck, but it was, I guess, on that whatever you call it, jank level. It was there. It was rogue. It didn't do anything, but it's still a deck.
It's funny enough that I actually looked into checking the wiki. The wiki itself it literally says on Wikipedia. How exactly does it phrase this? I want to get the quote right. So when talking about hat specifically, it says, depending on whom you inquire, it may be seen as a meta or anti-meta deck. And I think that is a very similar place where, Trap Tricks solo ended up, where, some people are playing it as their primary strategy. Other cases, you might see it as an anti-meta deck. Because you can start to combine it with a lot of insect and plant support. And honestly, I would argue that I feel like now that Ragnarika officially has developed a tri-type between insect, plant, and reptile, the insect-plant wombo combo has existed for a long time, and I think Trap Tricks has really helped to contribute to that. They were not technically the first because Naturia exists. That's also a lot of plants and insects, but also some rocks. But Naturia was also not good.
Yeah,
it's a first wave dual terminal archetype. It wasn't good. We should. I made a joke somewhere on the internet the other day when talking about Gimmick Puppet getting those tops immediately. That Konami's legacy support gets more and more unhinged every season. I'm reasonably certain we're probably a year or two away from Konami printing a field spell or some other card for something really bad like Ally of Justice or Mist Valley that just says, when you activate this card, your opponent will have a heart attack. Your opponent is legally required, unless they negate this card, to die. Because that's how some of these support cards feel.
Yeah, I have not actually looked at the Gimmick Puppet support. I'll be honest.
Well, MBT does have a new cards PogChamp somewhere about it, where I do believe that somebody linked him a video to the FTK. But if we're just killing time later, I can pull it up on YGO. The main thing that gets people is the field spell, because the field spell says, when activated, search a Gimmick Puppet. Also, your Gimmick Puppets are unaffected by opponent's non-Xyz monster effects. So it's you search, you're protected. I also think it floats if you actually remove it as well. It does something else, so it's crazy. But do not mistake me, chat. I did double-check this, and I said, no, not at 2016. So Trap Tricks does come back into the meta relevance. Just not right away. They did get another Penda-era support card. Trap Tricks Mantis, whose name in the OCG is Ranka. That's kind of a compression of a very long Japanese word for specifically the Orchid Mantis, which the Orchid Mantis is a praying mantis that looks like the petals of an orchid flower. Hence, Mantis has her, weird mantis claw sleeves. And also, I think her... Is that her sleeve? No, okay, she's sitting on something. All right, she's sitting on, an orchid thing. It looks kind of like a scythe blade. Yeah. But she's sitting in an orchid, and she has her praying mantis sleeves and has kind of an orchid color scheme. But watch out. And I believe, her little horns and the little Konami orbs are meant to look like the eyes of a praying mantis.
Yes, yeah.
So
it's a very
distinct style, yeah. It's good.
Yeah.
Praying mantis.
There's not much that we haven't really kept covering. They're just very pleasant designs.
Yeah.
You know?
There's honestly, again, we're dealing with an artist who is well known enough by name that we actually know they drew these Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Hey, guess what? They're good at their job. These cards don't really have art like flaws or anything. You know, it is how it is. The color schemes are good. They've got a lot of good use of light and stuff. It's all part of the plan. So Mantis is another insect level 4, 1500 attack, 1300 defense. This was in 2017 in Code of the Duelist. So literally this is the start of Link era. So at this point, Konami knew that stats don't matter if you're playing a rank 4 deck or any kind of specific Xyz rank deck. Mantis is unaffected by whole normal traps when she's normal summoned. Add a trap deck monster from your deck to your hand. Just Mimelio searches the trap. Mantis searches a monster. Once per turn, quick effect: target a set spell trap you control. Return it to your hand. Set a spell trap from your hand. So this actually makes Dionea better because it lets you when Dionea gets summoned on your turn, she lets you reset a trap. You then bounce it back to your hand because that card is banished during the end phase specifically, not like when it leaves the field. So you actually get to recycle it because it's no longer that card and can, do some funny setups. It's also a quick effect. Again, set cards can only be activated the turn they're set, or the turn after they're set, but does let you dodge things like MST and Cyclone. Your opponent plays a card, declares they're going to pop one of your back row. You're like, oh shit, that's my floodgate trap hole. I need that. Or it's my trap trick. Mantis can just be like, nah, bounce back, set a new one. You don't get to activate that card right away unless you've got some other effects, but it's still a good one. Now, trap tricks didn't really take off, though, until later, once they get access to a Link monster. So, like, and honestly, I'm going to guess probably related to the EMZ. I don't know how good, plant and insect Link monsters were right at the start. Obviously they're all Earth, so you have access to stuff like Mrs. Radiant, eventually Link Ausa. But this is a card that is or a deck that's primarily a rank 4 toolbox in addition to your trap effects. You're not really going to get out a lot of guys, so you'd probably end up doing a lot of make Rafflesia in your EMZ and sit. Which is not that great because Rafflesia herself is eminently poppable. She only protects other trap tricks. But I think this one was the first one of this blob.
Yeah, because glancing at it, it's close to late 2019. It starts popping back up.
Yeah. And that is exactly with a card that came out in mid-2019. Oddly enough, in a Battles of Legends set. Not sure why. Though I don't think we've mentioned on stream yet, but this... No, hold on. Are we... okay, yeah, not said. Did not... Don't know why I lost the copy there, but did not copy correctly. But this is actually a deck that's been played in the OCG structure deck manga. I don't know if that was after they made the Trap Trick structure deck. But there's a little bit of that support. But yeah, in Battles of Legend, Hero's Revenge, we got this one. This is Trap Trick's Sarah.
Sarah's pretty good.
Yeah. Hey, Sarah's an Archetype Link 1.
Yeah, I show up for the Trap Trick.
Well, she's also on their field spell, so yes. Sarah very quickly became, even more so I would say than Rafflesia, the like signature monster. If you don't know, chat, Sarah gets her name from Drosera, which is the genus of sundews, which are carnivorous plants with these little sticky balls of moisture that insects are like, ooh, cool, a sweet treat, and then they get rolled up and fucking crushed. So Sarah here is like sitting in a field of these, just chilling.
Oh fuck! Despair, you would know. What was the name of that normal monster the Japanese love in Yu-Gi-Oh?
Oh, I know. Morphinin.
This is the one that beat Morphin to get a card pack. Or card sleeve.
Letting you know how much of a meme Morphinin is. That said, I'm pretty sure Traptrix got their structure deck as a result of a poll as well. Again, fairly well-known archetype, and I think because their art style and gimmick is so iconic. Because, like, let's be real as well.
Morphin structure deck.
No, it was not that poll. That was, but yes, that'd be funny. Hey, give me that give me the Morphinin retrain. Give me Memento Morphinin. I don't know what Morphinin's called in Japanese, but it's funny. But, like, what I was going to say is, carnivorous plants are cool. Like, most people are probably tangentially aware. We said this earlier with, like, the Venus flytrap. Even though it's a really rare plant, most of you have probably heard of it and seen it because it's, like, really unique and well-known. But, yeah, this is Sarah. This is Thancred. She is an Earth Plant Link 1, 800 attack. She has the exact bottom-facing arrow. Her materials are one non-link Traptrix monster.
So you can just normal summon, then go into this, and
Yes.
you're set.
And she does have a downward-facing arrow, so you can still go into Rafflesia. This link-summoned card is unaffected by trap effects, once again kind of expanding the conditional unaffected, and has 2 effects that you can use once per turn and not during the damage step. If a normal trap is activated, summon a Traptrix monster from your deck with a different name than the ones you control.
Which is usually going to happen off the monster you special summon.
Yeah.
After you activate a normal trap card.
Yeah.
So you can just activate a trap card, summon a Traptrix, then set another trap hole.
And then, yes, if your other Traptrix monster's effect is activated, set a normal trap from your deck. Just perfect play. You just activate when you activate effects, and when you you can summon. If you activate a Traptrix, you can set, and it gives you the resource loop. Any normal summon in your deck becomes Sarah. Presuming that you probably, you still have 4 cards left in your grip after you've normal summoned. Presumably, there's a normal trap in there. Especially if it's a normal trap, like Trap Trick, a card we'll be talking about later, which is not directly in this archetype, but is very thematically related. Then you just have traps that you could do whatever the fuck you want with. You activate it, that means you get to summon. You've summoned, that's probably going to have a special summon effect. So just to recycle a trap card or pop a spell trap, turning your place in interaction. That means you immediately reload your back row. And Sarah is really, I believe, looking at these decks from 2019, what got him in there. Let me see. What was this? How was this like first one that showed up ranked? No, this was a first place at a regional. So this first place Traptrix list is like very solid. The main deck is 1 Scythe, 2 Phantasme, and then it's 1 Atrax, 3 Dianea, 3 Mantis, 3 Myrmelio. So Dianea was actually played in this once you got the ability to send those spell traps back with Mantis. For your normal spells, you're running 3 Demise of the Land, 2 Frozen Rose. Also, by the way, this was a Mystic Mind deck. Another thing that made this deck viable. There's running 3 mind. Frozen Rose is send a monster you control to the graveyard to do some stuff. If it's a plant, you draw 2, discard 1. If it's a non-plant, add its Rhoda for plants. And was also playing a single double or nothing. So you could do the Utopia double line.
Why not?
Why not?
I mean, you're playing a rank 4 deck. Utopia Lightning is a very good form of removal. And then their traps are 3 Compulse, 2 Artifact Sanctum, 1 Floodgate Trap Hole. I assume it was limited at this time. 2 Lost Wind, 1 Metaverse, 3 Ojama Trio, 3 Shade Brigandine, 2 Trap Trick, 1 Tretch Trap Hole. And the extra deck is just full of, 3 Sarah and then just good shit. All the Nightmares are in here, the Utopia Lightning line, IP, Abyss Dweller's in here, Tornado Dragon is in here, Redoer's in here. And also, guess what? Just to let you know that this has always been an issue with Link monsters, they're also, because they have IP Masquerena in here, they're playing 1 single Boroslur Dragon. Just so you can OTK push.
You know what else they're playing for an OTK push?
Zeus?
Pentastag.
Yeah, Pentastag as well. There's some very funny stuff in here. But yeah, so like Sarah combined with just the general other vibes of like rank 4s you could play and links you could play, like immediately we're like, oh shit, this deck is real. Like the ability to fetch monsters from like summon from deck and then set from deck immediately, just like get up there, you're good.
I do really enjoy just looking at the art, just like her two like hair beads that like are also like the plants that spit out her twin tails.
Yeah, lots of little details here with the, because it also looks like she's got little sundew earrings.
Yeah, the dress is also pretty fucking cute. It's adorable.
Yeah, there's a lot of cute little fashion items. Obviously, Loth, you missed some of the early levels here. If you have anything you want to say about why you picked this archetype, I need to run away real quick and fill up my bottle of water because it's fucking hot and I am dying of thirst. So I'm gonna mute my mic and be right back. And I'll leave chat to you.
I've got the stage.
Be nice, chat.
Nah, I just picked this because it's like, well, if everyone's picking or choosing the cute anime girl archetype, why not just pick the cute anime girl archetype? That's a trap. That's really it. Just put people on blast.
Yeah. You didn't play during hat format, did you?
No. I would have killed myself. Like, I only go back into Yu-Gi-Oh! With you guys. That was basically it. And I don't even play normally.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, because like I've been playing TCG on and off, like for a long while. Cost or not, it was just fun to play and just go to tournaments.
All right, I'm back.
Welcome back. You missed me calling the chat out for being lolicons. No, that didn't actually happen. Don't worry. Sorry. Loth humor is a bit off today. I've had a terrible sleep.
It happens. I'm looking at it. I'm just before we get into like our next block of support. I'm trying to figure out like what happened that made Trap Tricks like drop off. When's the timing of this in 2020? Oh no, okay, I see it. So no, what happened is Trap Tricks was killed by probably, I would presume, a combination of the new Master Rule and COVID format. Literally the last top is Feb 2020.
Yeah, I would say column A, column B.
Like, I don't think that Trap Tricks was an ideal deck for MR4, but the fact that their in-archetype monsters were just a Link 1 and a single rank 4, it was not a deck that needed to spread out a lot of extra deck monsters. So, you could easily, like, play through fairly basic Link board, like, Link setups. At worst, you set up for like an IP and a couple of material for Boral Sword, like we said, and stuff. You can make do with just Sarah and then your Downward Arrow for like another Link or an Xyz. If your opponent is like, okay, I'm gonna make you go second, you do your plays to do Utopia the Lightning instead and just run over their board, stuff like that. So, maybe other decks broadening out is good, but also like. This what we call COVID format, the format that never was, it caused a lot of meta shakeups. People just had other shit to do.
Adamantipator Block Dragon was the best deck.
The best deck with no tops. R.I.P. Block. But that little stint of popularity, I think, was enough to actually start getting these cards to start popping up. It's actually kind of, I would say, like, sad that they appeared to have, like, died off because of COVID format, because literally the month after they got their last top, and then I think a lot of the general like formats died down. They got another support card. This is Trap Tricks Genlisea, aka the corkscrew plant, which is another type of carnivorous plant. This was released in March of 2020.
Aww.
In Dual
Her hair's
Overlord.
adorable.
Yeah, it's because she's she's
you can see the skull in the background with the plant growing out of it.
Yeah, there's a little skull back there. Yeah. This is and the style of her hair is because she's based on a corkscrew plant. So lots of good theming.
Also,
She's
to make the
just-
joke, yes, a lot of these have been showing their feet for free.
Yeah. I mean, you weren't here, but I did mention this.
I felt like I heard Omega's soul leave his body when I said that.
I mean, you've heard worse jokes on an NBT stream.
Yeah.
But I do also think that is kind of like I mean, it's obviously intentional because the artist did that way, but the way that the first bout of lore in like Master Guide 4 talked about them is that like the biologist who's in the forest mistakes these girls as like the local indigenous population. I don't know if they would need shoes if they're actually like, a tribe in a southern forest. But no, they were not the locals. They are the reason for disappearances. They're gonna eat you.
They're the reason there is no locals.
But sorry, I accidentally clicked tips rather than trivia, which is bad. Don't do that.
Are you gonna pull up the corkscrew plant as well?
Yeah, that's what I was working on.
Okay. Because I'm wondering about what the fuck these blue gems are meant to be.
They're probably just beads of water or liquid. A lot of carnivorous plants have that strategy. Let me see if I can actually find the.
Come here for a tasty treat.
So they're small herbs. They. Interesting. So they don't have roots. They do these spindly little corkscrews, and then spiraled trap arms. Wow.
That's the most fucked up asparagus I've ever seen.
So, like, if I'm understanding this correctly, and that's also, like, double funny that she has, like, the corkscrew hair, the corkscrew plant doesn't have roots. Instead, it grows those corkscrew-like structures you saw above ground, and they're filled with, like, hollow spaces and little urticating hairs that just, like, sense when insects are in there to trap them, and they just actively secrete digestive liquid, which is probably why she has these little, water droplets around. That's acid, by the way. Watch the fuck out. But yeah, Genlisea is another earth plant, level 4. She's got 1200 attack, 1600 defense. She's unaffected by normal hole traps. And her effect is you contribute this card, set 2 normal hole traps with different names, one from your deck, one from your graveyard. Banish them when they leave the field. You can use this effect of Genlisea once per turn. Genlisea's alright. She's okay. She requires, like several other cards in this deck, requires graveyard setup. That's something actually that their support in the the structure deck helps with. But cards that are attributed are hard to hit with cards like Effect Veiler.
Yeah, and if I remember right, at this point, Trap Tricks was still pretty good. Like with Genlisea coming in,
Yeah.
it was just because of the nature of there being no official tournaments.
Yeah, we were not, especially because like I said, the tops in support for Trap Tricks were like really early in the year. There weren't even remote duels yet, so just like nobody was reporting these, but. I'm sure that on, Dueling Book and EDO, people were still playing Trap Tricks. But Genlisea is probably still pretty good.
I believe next is Lightning Overdrive. What is in that?
Ah, yes, this one. Vesiculo. Vesiculo, her Japanese name is Gina because it's the name of that, but that's a plant known as the water wheel plant. As you can see, it has some freaky wheel-shaped traps, like a Venus flytrap. So, like, you see those, like, star or wheel-shaped structures? Those are traps. So you touch those hairs, you get fucking scrunkled.
I appreciate that in the card art itself, you can see a little, like, water wheel spiky thing to the left.
Yeah, you got a few of them in there, and her like, skirt kind of forms the wheel shape. She's, like... The water has been around these guys, because I believe most carnivorous plants are, like, require very wet, humid environments. But, you know... Vesiculo is much more in water than normal, even though she's still an earth plant. But yeah, I know. It's a solid art.
Yeah, she's adorable. Rocking the best colors: black hair, green eyes, green everything.
Yeah, lots
I'll
of
put
different
myself
colors.
on blast. Also, is that a Hoge? Just like sticking right up there from her head?
Yeah, she has like a really weird cowlick. I assume it's related to the shape of the water wheel plant. But yeah, Vesiculo, another really good card, actually. Vesiculo is another level 4 Earth plant. She's 14/14. Generally, I haven't mentioned this earlier, but generally the way their main deck monsters work is that their attack and defense stats add up to a total of 2,800. So that kind of, you know, keeps the balance there. You got a few different rooms. She's unaffected by whole normal traps like that. She has you can use one of the following effects per turn, only once that turn. But first effect, send a set trap you control to the graveyard. Special summon this card from your hand. We found it, the free special. Also, once again, makes Diana a lot more relevant because you can immediately use that trap you reset on your turn. And if you control no cards in your spell and trap zone, you can banish this card from your graveyard, target a whole normal trap in your graveyard, set it to your field. So basically, Vesiculo gives this deck a much-needed additional summoning power. Obviously, with Sarah, it's not a huge concern, but getting multiple trap tricks on your board on your turn was hard, or harder. There are a couple ways to do it, but generally, you'll notice that, like, most of them, you know, so far have, like, special summon from graveyard or deck. When you're on the play and they're in your grip, it's a little harder to set up. But Vesiculo is just like, no, set a trap card, send it to graveyard, you can special summon her. So you immediately have cards going on. And then, I feel like her graveyard effect is definitely like, you've just been lightning stormed for your entire life savings. Like... You're having a great board. Your opponent fucking draws the out. They throw the lightning storm, or Feather Duster would be unbanned by this point. You know, they hit you with the one of, and they blow up your entire back row, and then you go, okay, asshole, banish Vesiculo, set a trap. So you can get one back, because, like, that is a thing that every back row deck fears, is just, when your opponent draws lightning storm, you just die. It's like getting hit with Red Reboot. You know, you're just like, well... guess I'll die. Red Reboot, luckily banned in the TCG, still legal in Master Duel. And yes, people have taken my lunch money with it before. It has an animation and everything in Master Duel. But yeah, Vesiculo, very good card. Again, kind of showing that they were geared up for this. They were like, okay, Trap Tricks is a deck that people like. We can throw in some extra support. We can make this work. Especially as, finally, also in the 2020, but we're going to the extra deck now, we got a new extra deck monster. Behold, Trap Tricks Allomeris. with Mantis and Sarah in her, aren't there? So, interestingly enough, Alomaris is a very interesting ant species. And they work with, like, plants and fungi to make traps, basically.
That makes sense.
And, like, catch larger insects and eat them. I will say, admittedly, I do not necessarily get, like, ant vibes from Alomaris, though she does have, like, the little mandible horns and a couple of little eyeballs. I guess the thing she's sitting on kind of looks like an anthill.
Yeah, you can see she's sitting in a hole. There's 2 other holes next to her.
Yeah. I want to say it's, like, not related to Alomaris at all, but I love Sarah in the background here just having a little tiny pog face. Just like she's just realized the camera's on her, and she's just like, ooh, hey, over there, hey.
I hope I got this correct. Alomaris looks like she's like reaching her hand out to you, like, come on, let's see where this goes. Just jump in the hole.
Alomaris is telling you to take ibuprofen together. Do not take ibuprofen from this woman. You will die.
It is a trap.
Yeah. Mantis out here with what I can only describe as a get a load of this guy face. This is something, we've mentioned this before, but I want to reiterate. I actually think this archetype's, like, art style is really distinctive and unique because, like, notice how almost every different card has, like, a different pose and a different style of facial expression. Even when they show up in new cards, like, we've got a lot of breadth of artwork here. But yes, Loth, what were you going to say?
I just now noticed you mentioned the ant part of Alomaris. Like, she has a kind of, I wouldn't say exoskeleton, but a kind of carapace that is surrounding her. Like, you can see, like, it looks like fabric, but it's like little black stuff underneath her top and above it as well.
She's got some interesting decorations, and that's usually how these things are suggested. Like, Myrmelio had kind of like a hard shell as well. So Alomaris is one of those card designs that is basically just like Konami is like, okay, what this is actually talking about, like, making the battle phase relevant. This is a thing I actually say, like, when you're playing a game of Yu-Gi-Oh, unless your opponent just gives up, like they decided it's not worth it anymore, you can't actually win the game unless you can do damage to their life points. Like, yes, you can hypothetically make it so disadvantageous your opponent has no choice but to fold. But, like, there are circumstances where you could fucking stick it out and see. If you can't also start threatening lethal, that means that you can't, like, conclude the game, which is important because Yu-Gi-Oh! Events are also time-based. So, like, wasting your time and not damaging your opponent's life points doesn't do anything. And this is something that I want to say that up until Alomaris, I don't think Trap Tricks had a good in-archetype way to do. This is why they were playing shit like Utopia the Lightning and Pentastag and Boral Sword, you know? They needed a way to, like, close the game with some damage. But Alomaris is a Earth Insect rank 4 who has 2200 attack and 600 defense, so she actually has an offense. She is completely generic, and specifically is 2+ level 4 monsters, so you can stack more in there if you want. Always interesting to see this. While she has material, she's unaffected by trap effects, same as Rafflesia, and you can use each of her effects once per turn. These are hard once per turns. First effect, first bullet point, you can attach 2 materials from this card. Special summon any level 4 insect or plant monster from your graveyard. Just do it. Literally, if she also said reptile, this would be a fucking Ragnarika card. Like, we're just generically summoning guys. Second bullet point. If an opponent's monsters leave the field because of your card effect and are now in the graveyard or banished, except during the damage step, detach material from this card, target one of them, special summon it to your field.
Just take it. It's yours now.
Just steal.
Fuck you.
Did you bottomless trap hole, a card they got? Nah, my card now, bitch. No, spicy. So yeah, and again, this isn't as strictly phrased as Labyrinth is. I think Konami actually learned some lessons for tightening effects for Lab. But Allomeris's, if an opponent's monsters leaves the field because your card effect is very broad. This means that Allomeris would trigger if you Rageki'd and blow up the board. Those monsters are leaving the field because of your card effect to the graveyard. All kinds of effects, cause them to leave the field. And it is also, it has the parenthetical, so it does work on board wipes. Obviously, you're meant to activate it when you use a trap card, but it's still very funny. But yeah, so Allomeris gives you
Allomeris,
Go ahead. Yeah.
By itself, does not really need to interact with either the trap aspect of the archetype or the trap tricks monsters out of the archetype in either way. So Allomeris was ran in all sorts of bullshit.
Oh,
just because it incorporated one or two of those aspects together.
Straight up, I suspect that if Ragnarika starts going places, you're gonna see. I don't know what their levels are, but if they've got 2 level 4s, you're gonna run Allomeris in that deck because she's just a free reborn of an insect or plant. Which is 2/3 of your deck. That's just. Allomeris is very much she is one of the most 2020 cards I think I've seen in a while, talking about legacy support. Eternity Code was a great set. That's got access code talker on the front. So you know that we're talking about some fucking 2020S Yu-Gi-Oh! Design. Also, hey, by the way, chat, I'm sorry to tell you, access code has been around for 4 years. But Allomeris is just she actually goes in attack mode, and with 2200 attack, it's not the best for a rank 4, but, you can beat over some stuff. And just...
Especially if you're using trap holes to get rid of the high attack point monsters you can
and just like I said, detach 2 materials to summon any 1 level 4 plant or insect from your graveyard. Great effect, good utility. And then just like we said, the seal effect, brutal. Especially because it's graveyard. Obviously being banished is good too, but graveyard as well is just hey, that guy you probably wanted to use an effect in his graveyard to reborn him. Nah, my card now. Very nasty.
This can also just get other generic interaction pieces that many decks played at the time. It's yours now.
Yeah. Whatever, funny package you want to run, you got it now. But we got like I said, there were several runs. We got another new Link monster in Lightning Overdrive. Funny enough, a lot of people thought Trap Tricks was going to come back in Leov. It didn't really, but they tried. They tried to juice him up. So this is Kularia. It's our second Link monster. Kularia is named after Utricularia, which is bladderwort. Here's actually, I think, a good image of the important part, but yeah, bladderworts have these little bladders that are full of stuff and little roots so that they can fucking kill your ass if you're a bug.
But that's unimportant. Look at the tiny little bunny droplet she has.
Yes, no, she has little rabbit ears and little rabbit guys with her, and how does the trivia page phrase that?
Do you think those little slimes function like actual rats?
Oh yeah, probably rats because she's got a tail too.
I assume that as in the thing of they eat through you kind of shit. But also hi. How you guys doing?
Yeah. We're talking about Trap Tricks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna assume that these little guys are based off a small like microorganism called rotifers, which kind of look like that, but are a thing that bladderworts normally eat. But they're little rat guys for some reason. Don't know.
Is it weird to feel like it's on
Little
brand
rabbit
if
ears.
it's cutesy, but I feel like they will do horribly grisly things to you?
No, you can't
Yes.
see any. That's totally on point. You can't see any skulls in this art, but there have literally been. Well, humanoid
I'd like to
skulls.
think I can think I can more think the orblets probably just dissolve everything.
They're probably acid, yeah. But no. And actually, no. I think they are actually supposed to be. I mean, they've got like mouse tails, but I think they are probably supposed to be rabbits because she's got bunny ears. Why does she have bunny ears? Don't know. Don't ask questions.
I mean, it's totally a paddle, so it's fake bunny ears, but yeah.
But they look like bunny ears.
I don't know why. I really
They're
appreciate
metaphorical
her
bunny ears.
poofy pants. It's adorable.
And I think that specifically that is kind of how the petals on a bladderwort look. They are a flowering plant. But yeah, Kalaria is another Lightning Overdrive card. She's a Link 2. She's a plant Link 2, Earth, 1800 attack. 2 insects or plant monsters. That's right. Kalaria is their semi-generic Link 2. Sarah is only an archetype, but Kalaria actually lets you do some stuff. That said, she is only the down and side arrows, though obviously with Sarah, it's pretty easy to use either of those, but you can't get 2 Link zones out of that. Kalaria says this Link Summon card is unaffected by trap effects, just like Sarah, and you can use each of her effects once per turn. After you activate a whole normal trap card, you can set it instead of sending it to the graveyard. Fuck it, just reuse that card.
Put it back down. Scrap Iron Scarecrow.
Yeah, every trap hole is Scrap Iron Scarecrow. Also, during your end phase, target a Trap Tricks monster in your graveyard, special summon a defense position. Hey, guess what? You probably have 2 Trap Trick monsters in your graveyard to make Kalaria. She just instantly gets them back in your end phase and procs their effects on special summon. Like, once again, another very strong engine card. Like I said, they didn't really like come back right away in 2021, but once we got several rounds of reprints, including the fact that several of these were commons, they were just part of the structure deck. There was room to cook. And now we're actually getting to the latest wave of support, the cards that are new in the structure deck. The structure deck came out in 2020, early 2023, last year. And actually, well, not like a sweeper, that year in 2023, Trap Tricks did start putting up some tops. And in fact, there is a first place deck listed in Yu-Gi-Oh! Top Decks for a Portland, Maine regional, which is pure Trap Tricks. It's running new cards from the Leov support and cards from the structure deck. They are main decking Ash and D-Shifter. And main decking evenly. So, like, there's some room in here. But mostly it's, the new stuff. Now, they also have a Constellar Diamond and Ptolemaeus package in here? Wild.
Why not?
Yeah, rank 4s. I mean, and they're running all the generic good stuff rank 4s you'd expect, like Baguska's in here now, Time Teeth Redoer made it in here. We're no longer running, like, Access Code or Boral Sword to close out the game, but you've got cards like Zeus and Goddess of the Closed World in here to just be like, nah. But yes, our first little friend from the structure deck support is the one with a very long name. She is Arachnocampa, who, by the way, is in Japanese is Kino no Kawakuma. Kawakuma Kino. So Arachnocampa is a genus of what are called fungus gnats. They are gnats that feed off fungus. And they're or that grow like fungus. Their larvae are carnivorous. Their larva stage is carnivorous. It's bioluminescent, and it grows sticky strings of silk to the top of caves. Also, by the way, Loth, this is another species that is from your freakish and terrifying homeland. Arachnocampa are from are endemic to Australia and New Zealand.
You can't see it. I'm giving a thumbs up.
Yeah, I talked about how it was sad you weren't here right away because the very first card of this archetype is Atrax, which is a funnel web spider.
Oh, yeah, fucking
I know.
spiders, man.
Yeah. So that's when we take those facts into account, Arachnocampa, once again, very thematic art. Love the like sticky string, which also becomes kind of like bead chain accessories. She's got very tiny mandibles as her hat thing, and lots of glowing and sparkling. So, Arachnocampa is a Earth Insect level 4. She's got 13/15. She's unaffected by whole normal traps, obviously. The first time a set card in your spell trap zone will be destroyed by a card effect, it isn't.
That's nice.
That's not even once per turn. That's just any time the first time a set card would be. Once again, built-in proof against Feather Duster, Lightning Storm, various other removers. During the main phase, if you control a Traptrix monster, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand, but for the rest of this turn, you can't special summon from the extra deck except insects or plants. You can only use this effect of Arachnocampa once per turn. Yeah, no, I mean...
insect plant deck, it's like
it's
probably like one card you can't play.
Well, so I did just mention that when this deck was meta relevant, they were playing a variety of rank 4 extra deck sweepers. So you're locked out of those. But and also, like, at this point, they're playing generic tech cards like like Link Ausa and stuff like that.
Fair.
But if it's your turn, you're probably making Rafflesia or Alomeris, so you don't care. And if it's remember, this is a quick effect during the main phase. So this means you can summon Arachnocampa.
On your opponent's turn?
Yeah, on your opponent's turn, which can set up
It's just during the main phase, not your main phase, right?
Yeah, I know. It's just during the main phase. If you control a Traptrix monster, quick effect, you can summon this card. So that just extra stuff, just extra bodies. And like I said, this is a thing that I think Traptrix did struggle with a little, if I remember from our time. Like this is why Hat worked, because they were just like extra resource guys you could use. Traptrix were not necessarily good at special summoning out a lot of themselves unless you had them in the graveyard already. So, between like Vesicula and Arachnocampa, you like actually have a way to fucking make more guys, get them out there. And we have one more.
I did want to say
Manic Monster?
The next one.
Good.
I did want to say I like this art for how like it's trying to be cutesy, but it's like overwhelmingly ominous in like a fun way.
She's kind of got like that kind of like vague spooky girl vibes, because she's got, you know, the dramatic hair over her eye. Though I do like that the hair is drawn translucent, so you can kind of see her other eye back there.
Yeah, and the horn. I just like it. It's like it feels like she's trying really hard to be like unassuming, but it's like she's surrounded by a death trap.
That is kind of how the trap, like, especially with the way the camera frames the trap part, like, they're just trying to be chill and invite you closer so that you die, perish, if you will. So our next one is Putika. Traptrix Putika. Hey, guess what? This comes from specifically the scientific name of Nepenthes pudica, which is a specific species of pitcher plant, because Nepenthes is the generic genus.
How does this girl attach to the plant?
She isn't attached. They're not attached to the creatures. They're stands.
Oh, okay.
That is something to clarify if people are asking, and we'll see it in some of the trap art when we actually get there. But generally, there's no indication that like these girls are like physically attached or fused to these plants or insects.
They're just gonna shove you into them, I guess.
They're just hanging out with them, and they're all hanging out together. Like the lore from the structure deck mentions that there are many different species of them, but they don't like compete or fight with each other. But yeah, now Pudica just looks, you know, kind of innocent and unassuming. She's got a similar hair thing to Nepenthes, because like I said, it's different species and stuff. This one is, makes it look more like this this pitcher plant looks like a comfy chair. But
it isn't.
Yeah, because it's got spikes in the mouth, and also it's got drops of acid everywhere. Do not touch the droplets of acid. So Pudica is a earth plant. She's got 900 attack, 1900 defense. She has the unaffected by hole traps effect, as all of their main deck monsters do. You can only use each of the following effects of Pudica once per turn. When this card is normaled, add a Trap Trip Garden from your deck to your hand. So add your field spell. Little out of date for 2023, but they did not want to add, I guess, a generic Trap Trick Spell Searcher. Or, didn't want to do that naming convention. So, yeah, it just gives you that. And if she's special summoned, you can target a special summon monster your opponent controls. Banish it. But during the next standby phase, your opponent can special summon one of their banished monsters. So it's a semi-Farfa type effect. She does not banish herself, but she will yeet a monster for hypothetically a turn. But also your opponent gets to special summon back any of their banished monsters. So, be careful, if you're banishing a lot. If you're running a lot of, bottomless trap holes and stuff.
Yeah, gotta be careful.
Still, Pudica is your field spell searcher on normal, which is good. So she, I saw her some number of her in the cut. It's a good one to have, though it does compete with a normal summon because you have several of those at this point. But still a good ability to get in there. And also because you can very easily set up that special summon on your opponent's turn with something like Sarah. A great card to have a couple of in your deck to just banish annoying cards. Get them out of here. We also got a couple of extra deck cards. First is Trap Tricks Adipus. They're Link 3. Atipus are known as purseweb spiders. They are from Africa and parts of Europe, mostly. They produce, what they call the purse web. So they make little webs on the ground or little web bags. Because they're ambush predators.
I like the look of.
Yeah.
You got the little red sparks or balls in the sky, but then you've got specifically two giant red eyeballs staring at you from the middle.
Yeah, you gotta watch out for that spider. She's kind of hanging on the silk. This looks even more like a setup than some of their cards are normally, because it kind of makes it look like she's stuck in the silk. But also it kind of is like she's tugging at the silk to let the spider know, hey, buddy, come out. Snack time. She has a little spider brooch on the front here. Got some of the eye setups with the mandibles as well. She's got 6 hair braids because the Adipus spider has 6 spinnerets. Lots of very good theming. Adipus is a Link 3 with I think slightly unusual arrows because she's got bottom and then the left and right straight arrows, so she forms a T shape. 1800 attack, 2+ monsters, including an insect or plant monster. So still semi-generic extra deck support. This Link instead of card is unaffected by trap effect, as all of their other Link monsters are. All trap trick monsters you control gain 1000 attack while you have a normal trap in your graveyard. So she's actually 28 Link 3, which is pretty good. Once per turn, you can target face-up cards your opponent controls up to the number of insect and plant monsters you control. Negate them until the end. Negate their effects until the end of this turn. Then you can apply this effect to banish your normal trap from your graveyard. If you do, destroy one of those face-up cards. So yeah, no, this is a pretty good card to include. It gives you a in archetype big beater who you can make under effective cards like I've already forgotten her name because it's the longest. Arachnocampa. Because like I said, if you have a normal trap in your graveyard, which guess what, you're gonna have a normal trap in your graveyard, all your trap tricks get 1000 attack. That's pretty good. That means Atrax is 28, Mermelio is 26. We've mentioned it before on Fatal Portrayal, but 1000 attack, Nothing to sneeze at.
Allomeris would be 32.
Yes. Big Allomeris.
Mm-hmm. Big. I
And
have
another one of our monsters we'll see in a moment will be really big.
Yeah. So,
I have had my shit kicked in by a big Allomeris thanks to this.
yes. And Adipus has an animation at Master Duel, I think, so, like, they know it's important. You see this card, you're going to get out there. But also, like I said, just once per turn, it's not quite like a Droplet or Dark Ruler because there's no, like, Spell Speed 4 type effect, but, like, just negate face-up cards your opponent controls equal to your, insect and plants, and then pop one if you want to banish a normal trap from your graveyard. Nasty. Genuinely gives you a strong option to push for game, either going second or even just on turn 3, your opponent plays through your traps, and they're just like, okay, you're playing trap tricks, you can't kill me. You're like, Adipus, I negate your board. My monsters become large. You are now dead. Like, I was talking about this earlier, but, like, yeah, to win the game of Yu-Gi-Oh!, you must do some number of damage to your opponent's life points. You got to do something. And, like, I think there is something to be said for decks that have problems pushing damage that will lose more than you win. But Trap Tricks definitely doesn't have that problem. I don't know if they've ever had that problem, obviously, with access to, like I said, the Utopia, the Lightning Line, and other weird shit. But, like, in Archetype, they absolutely have some stuff. And now, finally, they've got 3 links now, and now they've got 3 Xyz as well. And this is our last one of the monsters, though we'll talk about some traps soon. This is Pincula. Pincula is named after a species of plants known as butterworts, which look like this. They have a very pretty flower, and then you can see the surface of their kind of like base. That's all sticky, and even in this picture, you can see dead insects in there getting their asses digested. So again, card art-wise, looks a lot like it. You can see, Genelecia back there, but she's under a field of beautiful flowers, and there's this buttery sweet liquid that's shaped like skulls. Oh no! You are already being digested.
It sounded like you were putting on the fucking, was it Stamper voice from Battle Block Theater?
Yeah, I wish I should actually get myself the fucking like soundboard with like the Dark Souls You Died sound effect. I feel like after every art of a Trap Tricks, I could play that sound and it's just true. Oh no,
man,
a weird silk spider. You died.
I forgot the name already of the green one I mentioned earlier, but it's like they just copy pasted her exact pose from her picture and just put her there. Just fucking sitting there lounging.
Yeah, I think that's Vesiculo back there. She's a little different. Hold on. Chat. We need to zoom in and enhance.
So here's the thing. This is not a big thing over here, but looking at this monster, all I can think of is just toffee apples.
Okay, she's got like a bored look on her face. I thought she had like a very like funny anime face down there because her face is very small when this is card sized.
Also, pointing out that what is it? Oh fuck, I forgot her name as well. But the circle, the one with the circle twin twins. Fuck. They defy the laws of gravity. Just fucking.
Yeah, I mean that's Jin Axe keeps talking. Axe, would you like to repeat that statement because OBS died for a second?
Sorry. I just noticed the melting troll, the melting like goblin skulls.
I did bring that up out loud earlier, yes, but
sorry,
I don't actually. This is the thing, like, I don't know if those are supposed to be skulls. Those might just be like the effect, but they do look like the skulls, and they're gooping, so they might just be skulls that are melting.
Yeah, they also remind me of like the dudes in like the other Trap Tricks art where like they're being preyed upon.
Yeah. And there have been similar looking skulls in some earlier art. Or skulls that are shaped like that. They look like skulls, so they don't look like goop. But yeah, Pinguicula, or Pinguicula. It's a GUI.
Nuke.
Is our third Xyz, like I said, and this is where we take the fact that we have a number theme and are just like, all right, well, I guess this is how it is, because she's a rank 4 with 2,500 attack and 300 defense, so it adds up to that magical 28, and is still a pretty normal stat line for a rank 4. She's completely generic, 2 level 4 monsters. While this card has materials, it is unaffected by trap effects and the activated effects of other monsters with the same type as this card's material. Once again, I think this plays in very well with something like Alomeris, where like stealing your opponent's monsters, which is probably of a type of a card they use, gives you some very broad unaffected effects. Also encourages you to kind of mix and match your plant and insect effects. And then you can only use each of the following effects of Pinguicula once per turn. You can attach 1 material, add a trap trick from your deck to the hand. Just search any guy for 1. And then if a monster owned by your opponent is sent to the graveyard or banished by a card effect except in a damage step, just attach one of those cards to this card's material also. So she also has a steal effect. That guy gets yeeted by a trap hole. He gets attached to Pinguicula. She's then unaffected. And as Vesper mentioned earlier, when you combine this with Adipus to get that 1,000 attack, this is a rank 4 that is 3,500. Legitimately gives you quite a lot of offensive potential in this deck, which is, I think, the thing they were missing was, like, again, as evidenced by the fact that when this deck came back in 2019, they were running, like, IP and Boral Sword, and like I said, literally that first place deck from late 2019, was like one single double or nothing, so you could do the whole Utopia double, Utopia the lightning shtick, for the big push. Like, they needed some game closers, and you've got them now. And now, before we talk about the other related traps, because there are quite a few traps that are vaguely Trap Tricks themed, there is actually one more. There is one trap that actually has the name Trap Tricks that is part of the archetype and occupies an interesting space. I mentioned her earlier. This is Trap Tricks Holutea, which is a card that was added in the structure deck. Holutea is named after a type of plant known as Ibicella lutea, also called the yellow unicorn plant. Not exactly sure why. But, broadleaf, got the blossoms at the top and stuff. Sometimes called devil's claws. It is known as a proto-carnivorous plant. Proto-carnivorous plants are plants that will kill, like, insects and even other animal types, but does not digest them directly.
Huh.
So either it kills them as, like, a self-defense mechanism, or, even the Rafflesia is killing them to, like, get nutrients in the soil. So Holutea is a normal trap, but this card's effect is that you special summon it as a monster. So Holutea is a trap trick who is not a trap trick. So she's just kind of like shyly hanging out under the plants.
Yeah, no, I kind of appreciate it because she's hanging underneath a yellow leaf, and she's mostly in the shadows, whereas opposed to the other trap tricks, they're mostly like front and center, like, look at me, you want to save me, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like she's like the similar kind of being, but doesn't have the same mechanism as them. It does look like she's eating the leaves around her.
Yeah, it does look like she's more.
Though she does have some claws, so you probably want to be careful.
Yeah.
But yeah, Trap Tricks Holutea is a normal trap. First of all, she says that you can activate this card the turn it was set by discarding a normal trap, so we have a built-in way to get around the set requirements. Yeah, she's not searchable by the Illusion Link, but you wouldn't play the Illusion Link in this deck anyway. you don't need it because you can search Trap Tricks cards. Also, by the way, they spell this card Holutea because that means that she's a whole normal trap.
Oh.
The actual name of the plant is Lutea, but it's got hole in it so that she is a whole normal trap you can search.
Funny how that works.
Yeah, they did some pretty funny wordplay there. You can, and when activated, you special summon this card in defense position as a normal monster specifically. Plant Earth level 4, 400 attack, 2400 defense, so big defense. Really good learning from Nepenthes. This card is not treated as a trap. Very specifically, she straight up becomes a monster, is not still a trap, so not still using up your zone, not targetable by effects that only target traps. She fully transforms into a normal monster. Also, you can banish this card from your graveyard, target a Trap Tricks monster in your graveyard, special summon it. You can only use one Holutea effect per turn and only once that turn. But yes, Holutea is a whole trap, so she is eminently searchable. I do not think that you can use her effect with Rafflesia. I'm pretty sure that doesn't work because it, is summon this card when activated, not when sent to graveyard. But still, a very reliable card that, once again, it gives you loads of extra bodies to summon out. Which is good, because you're playing a rank 4 deck, and like I said, she counts as a normal monster fully, not as a trap. So now we're going to see the what's-ups here. I mean, even now, Caesar, they have only 3 Links and 3 Xyzs. The only card I think you normally run, 3 of is Sarah, because she's the Link 1. You don't usually double up on a lot of the extras. You still have, half your extra deck, so you... People are still playing
Sarah?
Redoer, Baguska, etc.
People see Sarah, it's get that out. She's gonna go.
Well, yeah, Sarah is such a key part of the loop. I remember, because funnily enough, shout out to some other series. For a ban list block of Master Saga Season 4, where MBT was on, he actually went into these packs in Master Duel and started to develop a Trap Tricks deck, because they had some of the new support, but it was, separate from the Secret Pack, but it was the Trap Hole, Secret Pack anyway, so he went in there, and he got, really good pulls, including a Sarah and a couple of other extra deck monsters. He didn't win with that deck a lot, though, because that was the same period where Doug DeZeef went into Danger Kaiju. Sarah, very easily Kaijuable. If you need a target to throw a Kaiju at and get the fuck out of here, it's Sarah. Because as we mentioned before, she is such a key part of the resource loop. But yeah, no. Holutea means you can make Redoer with a guaranteed trap. You still have access to all your other generic rank 4s, and you can access some other links too. Like I said, we're gonna pull up a card art here that's gonna reveal the truth. What's actually happening? Behold, Trap Tricks Trap Hole Nightmare, known in the OCG just as N-Trapping Pitfall. Kawaku.
Nightmarish.
No Pitfall. Which is Kawaku is similar to the pun, but yeah. Hey, so that's Atrax with her giant spider. That's Mermelia with her giant antlion, which also is looking a lot like a spider in this dimension, but it's got the big mandibles. And Nepenthes with her plant, fucking melting that Yu-Gi-Oh! Goblin Man. We also have generic Warrior Man.
And the one Warrior Man, yeah.
Yeah, so you have... and these guys are very frequently seen in Trap Hole arts. The two goblins and the Warrior. The Warrior is getting melted by Acid Trap Hole, So yeah, this is what's happening in those sequences. Like I said, I think that these girls are you can see that they're kind of glowing in this. I think that they're just magical, and they have the power of their fucking bug stands or plant stands, and they're just gonna.
It reminds me of thing of I don't know if it's what folktale it is, but the thing of basically malevolent spirits that are the embodiment of traps or just like hazards in nature.
Yeah.
Megan,
the actual
you said those words. I just pictured one of them going.
Yes. No. I mean, this. I do not have the assets to make that edit right now. This image would only be improved if I put JoJo menacing on it. Like you've got some space. You could just put some menacing SFX in here and just like.
My weird question is
discard it.
like, is it the plant first or like the spirit?
That I do not. That is something that Yu-Gi-Oh has never actually specified. The card art indicates that like the two are like basically working together. They're one and the same. It does not indicate like which is supposed to be the quote unquote real one, like which came first, chicken and egg style. Oh shoot, there was a second thing I was gonna say, and I don't remember if it was a joke, but I don't remember it right now. We're talking about JoJo, and then like the menacing. I'm trying to remember where I was going. But yeah, no, this kind of shows you the frame we're going on, and is a strong recurring theme in a lot of these card arts.
It also says a lot without saying much, I guess, because it's like,
yeah,
I'm like about to. It's like it's like 5 seconds before like 3 horrible grisly murders.
And it's also actually honestly a pretty simple effect. This came out in Judgmental Light, by the way, so this was like originally when released with them. This is a normal trap that says when a monster that was special summoned this turn activates its effect on your opponent's field, negate its effect. If you do, destroy that card. Very simple effect. It does not respond to the summon, but rather to the effect activation, but does apply to special summon monsters. And it's a pretty nasty card. I've been hit with Trap Hole Nightmare before, and it's just mean because it's delayed. You don't realize you fucked up until you activate the effect, and then you're just like, ah, shit, they had Trap Hole Nightmare. I should note that, strictly speaking, this card does not have trap tricks in its name in Japanese. It has Koaku. The actual name of the trap tricks archetype is Koakuma. So, like, slightly different language pun there. That said, shockingly, the OCG seems to have been pretty respectful of this and doesn't actually do anything with it because it has the verbiage that it is a pitfall type card, so you can search it with Murmelio. So you don't need to worry about that. And I don't know why they decided to add Nightmare. I guess it just sounded better.
It does roll off the tongue.
Oh, actually, did I? Oh, I just realized. I mean, I will put it on my list, but for some reason I forgot to put on my list the field spell, which was mentioned by name earlier. That's one of their very late supports, so we can talk about it in a sec. But where is it? There it is. Trap Trip Garden. Let me go ahead and make sure that name is in my. Make sure that name is in my notes. Okay. But the next one we're going to talk about is a card that is, again, not technically in this archetype, and is not even actually searchable by this archetype, but has the card arts, and also is very important to the play, and also trap decks in general. So this came out much later in 2018, but was another reason why this deck started cooking again. It's Trap Trick with a space and no X.
Yes, this one.
So Trap Trick, art-wise, shows Diane and Mantis with those 3 bozos leading them into the spooky forest filled with monster bugs and plants.
They all have a bad feeling about it, but they still do it anyway.
Yeah. What fucking gormless idiots. I would not. There are glowing red eyes in this forest. No, man, I'm coming back with the Agent Orange. Get me out of here.
It feels like that bit from the video we showed you, Omega, the Summer Kingdom Hearts. These vibes I'm getting from you are totally trustworthy.
It's true. Bring your eradicating aerosol.
The termicide must be deployed.
Well, you laugh, Loth. Actually, like I mentioned this earlier before you got here, but I checked the lore. That straight up says that, like, it's supposed to be the story of a biologist who like goes into the forest to figure out like what's causing mysterious disappearances, missing persons, and he finds the trap tricks. He says that he escapes because he remembered to bring his bug spray, and it shows the card art for eradicating aerosol, the card that destroys insects.
So basically, we have like basically a Japanese horror movie as an archetype.
Yeah. So Trap Trick is one of like, I mean, we make jokes about the Yu-Gi-Oh cards of all time, but like this is a revolutionary card. Trap Trick is a card that still sees play today. It has been reprinted a fuck ton of times since appearing in Soul Fusion. It's been in, Mega Tins. It's been in multiple structure decks. It got a print in Maximum Gold Eldorado. It was reprinted in Tactical Masters to go along with Labyrinth, and also is in the Trap Trick structure deck as one of its 2 structure decks as well. It was also printed in the another deck build pack, Secret Slayers, with Eldritch, another trap deck. So, like, if you're playing a trap deck, you're going to look at Trap Trick. Trap Trick is a normal trap that says, banish a normal trap from your deck except Trap Trick. If you do, set one card with the exact name, with the same name, directly from your deck. It can be activated this turn. You can only activate one trap card for the rest of this turn after this card resolves, and can only activate one Trap Trick per turn. But yeah, Trap Trick is just, hey, are you running 3 copies of a trap? Ideally 3, but you could go as low as 2. Cool. If you get Trap Trick, you can access those traps anytime you like. Admittedly, you have to be careful because it does limit you to one trap activation per turn once you set it. But if you're setting, I don't know, Floodgate Trap Hole, 1's probably all you need. Get your opponent with a Time Space Trap Hole, fucking send their link back. All kinds of crazy shit, It's a very powerful card. Like, it's basically become a staple in trap decks. Which is very funny because they made further adventures. Behold, one of the more recent cards as well. Trap Tracks, or just Trap Track in the OCG. Hey, guess what? Those guys, they're dead now.
Melted.
They're dead.
Oh.
I think their flesh got turned into the honey.
They got melted. They're dead now.
Yeah,
These guys are
melted.
toast. Yeah, so this is Trap Track. This is a normal trap that says, target one monster you control, destroy it. If you do, set a normal trap directly from your deck, except Trap Tracks. It can be activated this turn. You only activate one trap card for the rest of this turn after this card resolves. You can only activate one Trap Tracks per turn. Hey, guess what? It's Trap Trick copies 4, 5, and 6. You have to pop a monster you control to do it, but you can just set a normal trap from your deck without needing to banish extra copies. So this works on cards that you are only running one of or are only able to run one of. It is very spicy. Once again, adding to the full, like, breadth of weird trap shit that is tangentially Trap Tricks related, but not directly. And now let's actually talk about some more technical archetype cards. First, the field spell, I mentioned it earlier. This is called Trap Trip Garden. It's just, this is our thumbnail, it's just Sarah in her field of Sundews. Having a blast.
Yeah, no, it's cute, but menacing.
Yeah, it's like I was gonna say, like, it's very serene, yet it's offset by how it's full of like tiny orbs that want to melt you.
The funny thing to me is just the patches of just soil.
I think it's water. If you look
Is
at her
it
normal card
water?
art. Yeah, she's got like water in there. Most of them are in water.
Okay, never mind then.
But yeah, so,
Don't have-
it's part of the thing. So, Trap Trip Garden, which you can search off of Pudica. because otherwise you don't have a lot of searching in this card. But it's a field spell, so you have other ways. It says, during your main phase, you can normal summon a Trap Trick monster in addition to your normal summoner set. You're going to gain this effect once per turn. That's right, it's a double summon. Each time a insect or plant monster you control would be destroyed by battle each turn, it isn't. And you can banish a monster you control, special summon a Trap Tricks from your hand or graveyard. You're going to use this effective garden once per turn. I won't say that the garden is like... It's not quite a do-everything field spell. It's still a really good field spell. And this is a weakness I mentioned earlier. By now, by 2023, Trap Tricks has a lot of cards that proc on normal summon with good effects. Having to pick what you use for your normal summon can be troublesome, and also, as I mentioned earlier, they do kind of have a hard time special summoning themselves out of the hand. That's why several of them have inherent special summon effects. So Trap Trip Garden lets you use multiple normal summons in a turn, which is something the deck actually really likes. The Destroy by Battle effect is good because, as we mentioned before, some of your monsters can already get quite large. This means that you can actually, like, wall up pretty decently. You know, it takes 2 attacks to destroy everything. And then also, you can just banish any monster you control to summon a Trap Tricks from your hand or graveyard as well, giving you lots of extra material to use, perhaps once your normal summons are expendified. So, a very solid card, not like... It is not the axis the entire deck now rotates around, but it is still a really good card that gives you the juice you need. And then we've got another card that's actually, like, really interesting because it's definitely supposed to be a... It was printed in the structure deck. It's definitely supposed to be a Trap Tricks card, but also it's just generic support, technically, for other archetypes. This is Trap Tantalizing Tune. It was just Tantalizing Allure in the OCG. In this art, you can see Rafflesia hanging out with Arachnocampa.
Look at that mandible up there.
Yeah. I mean, that's Arachnocampa is based off a little carnivorous larva, so yeah, there'd be some pinchy bites.
Also, isn't that, like, fluid all meant to be, like, acidic?
Not quite. Rafflesias are slightly different. They're not actively carnivorous. They kill and trap creatures in and around their, like, they lure creatures close and then they trap them in their body so that they can, like, break down into the soil and feed them. So I don't know if it's actually, like, actively acidic, but it's part of the vibe with all the sparkles. It's the Rafflesia, it's the big plant. So Trap Tantalizing Tune is discard a level 4 insect or plant or a normal trap, draw 2. So, you know, technically because you're playing a normal spell, it's discard 1, draw 2 becomes a +0, but still, lets you cycle your hand a lot. Also, you can banish this card from your graveyard. Target one of your banished level 4 insect or plant monsters or normal traps. Place at the bottom of your deck. You use each effect to Trap Tantalizing Tune once per turn. Yeah, hey, guess what? If you play level 4 insects or plants or normal traps, you have a draw 2. You know, and honestly, depending on the deck you're playing, it's not terrible. Like, honestly, if, well, one, if this card wasn't another fucking Ultra in Master Duel, but also if I had room in my Labyrinth deck, which I don't, because Labyrinth is actually a deck that's... It's very dense. You don't have a lot of extra room for weird tech cards because your deck is basically split between, especially in Master Duel where you've got a lot of semi-limits, running enough copies of names that you can actually do anything, and then running enough trap cards that you can actually do anything. So I don't think I have room for, like, 3 copies of this, but this is definitely a card that a lot of people were very excited about when this deck was announced. Some people were calling it Labyrinth support, but like I said, I think that you just don't anyway. Labyrinth already has enough consistency tools. But again, any level 4 or insect or plant is a draw 2. And then also you can banish it from your graveyard to get back one of your, just put back in your deck one of your banished, you know, plants or insects. Very broad strengths, lots of utility. And then we got another Trap Hole, which is supposed to be directly related. And also, once again, lets you know shit's a little fucked. This is titled Terrifying Trap Hole Nightmare. It's Delusion Pitfall in the Japanese, but Terrifying Trap Hole Nightmares. Much more intimidating. In this card art, you can see Pudica looking very sinister and Mantis with her giant mantis. This goblin is fucked. He is going to die.
Yeah, I don't think he's getting out of this one.
So you're probably wondering how I got here.
Yeah, it's one of the things I was thinking. I was also thinking, now those old Duke boys are at it again.
I love just like the literally like they're like overwhelmed with like dark delight at like seeing you perish.
Yeah, no, like very sinister. You mentioned earlier it's like a Japanese horror movie. Like we have gone full spooky Japanese ghost girl with like this shading on their faces and stuff, and they're very generic mouths.
I don't know where I hear it from, but I remember there being like smaller known folklore stuff about literally like spirits that are represent literally meant to be just hazards that want people to go more into them. Like natural hazards.
There's a lot of lures and stuff, and I think we got distracted because that was what I was gonna say. I remember now, but Loth made a joke about something. I was gonna mention earlier, the actual folktale of the Jorogumo, the spider in the waterfall, is actually kind of like that, where it looks like a nice, young woman, but if you get too close to the waterfall or the log, a string of spider silk will come and snatch you away. So, like, that is definitely the vibe that these guys are putting out. Terrifying Trap Hole Nightmare is a normal trap that says, if your opponent has special summoned a monsters this turn, target a monster your opponent controls with 2,000 or more attack, destroy it. Then if you have a whole normal trap in your graveyard, banish a monster from your opponent's graveyard. You can only activate one Terrifying Trap Hole Nightmare per turn. This is just Trap Tricks Trap Hole Nightmare on steroids. If your opponent special summons, you can pop any monster with 2k or more attack. And then if you have a hole, it's also a banish from graveyard, which can obviously be the monster you just popped or another monster. This is really good card advantage. And this was printed in the Trap Trick Structure deck. Also, by the way, just again to let you know that the rarity system of Master Duel sucks a little bit. This was a common in the Structure deck because it's a Structure deck card. But for Master Duel, they were like super rare. But yeah, no, this is just a solid trap hole. But yeah, that's all of our primary trap tricks and all of the immediately related trap tricks trap cards and spells. Tantalizing Tune, Trap Trip Garden, etc. All in all, like I said, very, very solid deck. Again, I mentioned this earlier. Calling it a fan favorite is probably incorrect. I literally talked about how one of the cards that made this deck relevant in the Link era in 2019, in addition to Sarah, was you were running 3 Mystic Mine. Like, this has straight up been a stun deck. I do actually think that Konami, with their latest wave of support, has been trying to get away from that by actually giving you several tools to push for game in Archetype. Like, actually giving you a reason to play it as more of a reactive control type strategy. You use your trap holes to stop your opponent's summons or blow up their big monsters, or blow up their monsters before they get to their problematic big ones, and then just throw all these chicks in attack mode and, eat your opponent to death next turn. Like, actually giving you room to close out.
Nom 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 nom.
Which is good, actually. Like, I think that's how control decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! Should be played more, is like they should be about points of interaction and then capitalizing on that interaction to just hopefully polish off your opponent. It's funny because Labyrinth started with an OTK tool in the form of Labyrinth Archfiend, and it is a really decent form of removal. But, like, as the deck gets away from that strategy more, I often find myself actually playing Labyrinth and Master Duel being like, well, shit, I've only got, Lovely Lady or Lady Lab on my board, and I cannot, because I've used all my tools already, cannot summon any more monsters, so I guess I'm just going to poke you for 3 and hope that you don't draw anything funny on your next turn. I would say that's actually one of Labyrinth's weaknesses, if you're trying to figure out how to beat Lab, is it's not really great at OTKing.
No.
They have a couple of tools to get a couple of big monsters out, but by its very nature, you're often recycling those guys. Even Chaos Angel is only 35, and he takes 2 mats, you know? So, like, if you can stick it out for 1 or 2 turns, it is very unlikely that unless a lab player has drawn the goat hand, they can actually kill you.
Yeah, that's only like they're gonna hit you a few big times, but I don't think they ever like can hit you more than half your life in a turn.
Yeah, they don't have a soul charge. All their monsters that like special summon themselves are weenies. You know, they're babies.
But they might make it where you have no way to recover, so you just surrender because there's nowhere to recover from it. But
if they got the trap cards locked out, they can get you. But it's one of those things where like, if you want, you can try and out-resource Lab. Lab wins in the grind game usually because they have very strong resource loops and just will keep hitting you for like 3k over and over again. But if you can actually like break their board, they have very limited responses to just overwhelming power. They cannot close games quickly.
Something.
What's up?
Since Traptrix has finally been voted for, I have to pick up a new archetype to put on the fucking board.
You got a few days, you know, before I have to put the poll up.
I already know. I remember what I did, so mine's not changing.
I'd have to double check, but it was Galaxy or Photon, but I'll see which one it was exactly when I put up the new poll, because we'll check the old poll. So if you're ready to stick with that X, yeah, look in there.
Come up with a new archetype that hasn't been done yet.
I mean, you shouldn't actually do it. You shouldn't actually. I was going to joke you should do hands, because I've put up artifacts before, and maybe people want to click on that, and we can actually do the hat trick. But also, don't waste your pick on that, Loth. Hand is funny, but I'm sure we can figure out some other way to do a lot of those like weird guys, like Star Seraph hands.
No, I chose Traptrix because, as I said before, I was incensed because people never picked the ones that I picked or put up because it wasn't cute anime girls. So here you go, cute anime girls. Now that it's gone, I have to think of something else. I can't just keep coasting by.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll run another poll soon and figure it out. But yeah, this Traptrix. There's a lot of fun stuff there. And this is a deck that, you know, is still okay. Like I said, it hasn't put up tops in general in a little bit. I don't actually. Probably some of that is just because YGO top decks no longer keeps up, so it's a little bit harder to search actual top decks. Let me see if I can find, like, if I go to YGO PRO. ECK.com.
Wouldn't say fondly, but I do remember getting booting a Macedor and just running into so many Traptrix players.
It was. This is a problem with a few other tricks, but like the Master Duel is very flavor of the month. I don't know how the fuck people do it. And there are definitely some decks that like people just play forever. I want to shake whoever at Konami was like, oh yeah, we can make Sword Soul a structure deck in Master Duel. Oh yeah, we can do a returning player event where Sword Soul is, you can get 1 copy of the Sword Soul structure deck for free. Because that is
everyone has nukes. There's no problem.
But I don't want to waste like
but I don't want to nuclear
2,800 gems to buy 3 copies of the Sword Soul deck. I want to make interesting decks. I'll say it. Sword Soul's not interesting. It's a very boring deck. It's good, but it's boring. No, yeah. Traptrix is a pretty lengthy archetype. Yes, we are at the end. We have covered all the cards, but it is not over yet. Oh, I misspelled it. I'm double-checking to see if there's any recent Traptrix decks. Let's see. So, not super great, but still like 6 months ago, like later last year. They were like, there was a Traptrix deck at like top 4 in like Hartford. Let me look at this list. Yeah, no, this is about what you'd expect. 3 Shifter, 2 Dionea, 3 Myrmelio, 3 Mantis, 1 Vesiculo, 2 Arachnocampa, 3 Pudica, 1 copy of Traptrix Garden. Very bold, sir. 3 Ashen
you did miss out on most in this one. Zed. Sorry.
Yeah, I answered that earlier. 3 Prosby, 3 Evenly, 2 Floodgate, 1 Gravedigger's Trap Hole, 3 Imperm, 3 Shade Brigadine, 3 Holutea, 1 Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare. God, this is a fucking... Sorry, I'm... Can I... Is this... No, this isn't, like, graphical. I can't, like, punch this out, but... Their extra deck is, like I mentioned before, it's, like, 3 Sarah, 1 Adipus. Wow, they're straight up not even playing Kularia. We're just, like, skipping that step for more speed. You've got Link Alsa and Underworld Goddess in here. You're still running Rafflesia and Alomaris and 1 Pingukula. You've still got Dweller, Redoers in here. I once again would like to remind you, this extra deck is so lean that they're still running that Tellarknight Ptolemaeus package, which is 2 or more level 4 monsters and lets you detach to rank up into Constellar Diamond.
Oh, nice.
And also they're running Zeus. Or also you can use Ptolemaeus to rank up into Durandal as well. Because you can't make Artifact Durandal without Artifact. Their side deck, by the way, like I said, fucking mean. This person who got top 4 is running 1 Kumungus, 2 Gameciel, 3 Droll, Change of Heart, Feather Duster, the second copy of Gravedigger's Trap Hole, 3 Solemn Johnsons, and 3 Anti-Spells.
Johnson.
I mean, you can put Starlight Road in here. People haven't done that for many, many years.
There's too many other good traps to throw in there.
And we not only talked about Dianera mention Imperial Iron Wall. That's the other thing is, like, several cards in the deck have also been designed to get around Dianea's downside. Like I said, I mean, it's cute. Stardust Dragon on his own isn't that competitive, and Starlight Road is a protection. You could just they have their in archetype ways to get around it. Hell, if your opponent wipes your board, like I said, most Traptrix decks I have seen are main decking evenly matched. So, like, if your opponent blows up your whole board anyway, if they don't OTK, you just evenly their entire fucking life savings. Like, there's a lot of really good cards in here. Hell, they're, like, again, there's so much room in this extra deck, you're running fucking Prospy, you know? Just pitch the six guys you don't care about and dig. So yeah, I think in general the only reason why Traptrix hasn't been more relevant is just because the like Diabel Snake Eyes period came about, and it's a lot spicier. Also, unfortunately, a lot of trap hole cards destroy your opponent's cards. What could be in the meta that actually pluses when you destroy them? And if this was like if I was editing these stream highlights, I would put like a transparency of like Garunix vibrating on the screen right now. Like,
yeah.
I think that just the reason why you're not seeing Traptrix decks played right now is just that, like, other meta flavors have come around, and they're just not, with their current set of cards, though they are very good, they're just not quite as spicy as a lot of the stuff that is good in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now. They've got a lot of the stuff that you'd want out of a good deck. Like I said, the extra deck is super loose, and honestly, like, again, most people are slotting in, like, Gravediggers, Trap Hole Nightmare, and Floodgate. You could slot in any fucking trap hole, and there's so many of them. As we're talking about this beginning, you will learn about new trap holes.
Every time you think you've seen them all, you'll get shocked by one you've never seen before.
Like, let me
There will
actually
be
see.
more
Drag you
findings.
back in.
Let me actually. Let's see. It's centered on trap hole cards. How many of these are there? So there's 13 actual trap hole cards. And then there's also hole normal traps as well, like chain hole and other stuff. Saber hole. the X Saber card that's a counter trap. So like,
Oh yeah, that's right.
there's a lot. The counter trap Pendulum Hole. When a monster would be pendulum summoned, fuck him. Is it a 2010 card? Sorry, I just looked up and it's like Magic Hole Golem, Dark Rock level 3. Once per turn, select one face-up monster you control. Attack is halved until the end phase, but it can attack your opponent directly this turn. The turn you activate this effect, only a selected monster can attack. This came out in 2010 in Absolute Power Force. And that's the same set that introduced like fucking like Majestic Turbo. Yeah, white hole if your opponent drops dark hole. So like it's a flexible deck. It has a lot of really good legacy support. Obviously, I think a lot of people are slimming down the in-engine package to just the bare essentials because you are just... I don't know if it's a nature of the Trap Tricks deck or just the people who are playing Trap Tricks. There appears to be a lot of pre-siding. People are just like, yeah, I can play D-Shifter. Yeah, I can play evenly in main, you know? Like, just, like, being prepared. So I don't know if like if you did not want to play that way, I think there is room for certainly in Master Duel of and at your locals a competitive deck that mostly focuses on extra Trap Tricks bodies rather than, like I said, pre-sighting, you know, Droll or D-Shifter. Yeah, Baromet the Sacred Sheep Shrub, who is a plant Xyz, which is actually good for your lockouts. I wish that guy was a Fiend, because then he'd be easier to make in Labyrinth. But he's a rank 4 that lets you do stuff with, like, shuffling back your normal traps. Very good card in Trap Tricks. Also still a good card in Labyrinth. You just can't do it the same turn you activate Welcome Lab. But yeah, no. I would not be shocked if, because we mentioned before, because some of their extra deck are generic, if you see some of these cards start to show up again in Ragnaraka. Ragnaraka is a new tribe-type archetype, which is insects, plants, and reptiles. They already have some very robust cards in their own deck, but also have plenty of room for other, like, engine-type cards in main and extra. Like, I'm pretty sure you can run, you know, King of the Feral Imps and stuff. But let me actually see, like, what their guys are like. Let's see. They've got, let's see, Armored Lizard is a 4. Oh, that's a Link monster. Samurai Beetle is a 3. God, they have a lot of Link monsters. Evil Seed is a 1. Oh, but they have an insect level 4 that's going to come out. She's not out yet, but she will be. Yeah, no. So Ragnaraka does already have 2 level 4s. One is a reptile, obviously, but your Xyz are generic anyway. And then one of them is actually an earth insect level 4 as well. So, like, absolutely, you can start to, like, play with this. For instance, I'm straight up seeing that, like, people are already recommending, depending on what you want to do, you can hybridize these cards with other 3 types. You can include Aroma, Rika, and Sun Avalon to lean on plants. For insects, you can play Trap Tricks and Bee Trooper as well, and obviously Trap Tricks is also plant. And if you're playing reptiles, you can, I've already, MBT even talked about when talking about Ragnaraka, you can spice up Ogdoadic builds and Reptilian.
Clearly, Snake Rain will finally be good, right?
Probably. I might leave it as artifact, but if not, I might switch to Reptilian. That's a very funny synchro deck. Involves a lot of snake ladies. And I'm pretty sure I tried to make that work in our Prog series during the synchro era. I did not have a lot of success, but funny zero attack tech. It's very good, and there are a lot of really like the Reptilian Link and some of their like modern synchros are very spicy. But we'll talk about that later. This has been your regularly scheduled Fail Portrayal. Next week, we'll be back to our usual with Mikanko, talking about deck build packs. And in case you missed it at the beginning, I did mention that Konami did actually, in the OCG, finally announce a new deck build pack. So, you know, we're not quite at the end of our, time with this period. Calling it... Oh, what was the exact name? It's fucking crazy. It's goofy. Crossover Breakers. That's right. How could I forget Crossover Breakers?
Oh, that
Tentative
is.
title.
Oh, mouthful.
That's definitely that's a set name.
It says in multiple parentheses tentative title. They could change it again. So, you know, we'll see what's up. But that's actually going to release in the OCG in August of this year. So still got a few months. But they are indeed making more deck build packs. And that be how it be. So, thanks everyone for tuning in. Like I said, this was a Patreon poll supported one, so look forward to supporting us on Patreon to keep voting in the polls to pick new topics. We'll have some funny cards in there. We'll see how much of a marathon they are. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, share with your enemies, share with random strangers on the subway. Definitely show random strangers on the subway this episode of Fail Portrayal without any context. It will
I was
cause
gonna say
no
something that's really
problems.
stupid, but I feel it's too easy to take it out of context, so I can't.
Yeah, be careful about being clipped. Much
Yeah.
like this episode, you should be careful about taking this out of context. Don't take yourself
I
out
will
of context.
I will tell you when the recording's over.
Which is going to be right now. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
See ya.